Woo! Good day, everyone. Man, oh man. What up, Bubba? Man. Yeah. Good day, everyone. This is the Wildest Wake Up Show. I'm your host, Sharon Bracey. And every single day we rebel against remedial rhetoric, and today will be no different. We want to challenge your thoughts. We want to make sure that these are your words and your thoughts, and you're not just regurgitating information that you heard from elsewhere. And like how we always love and enjoy to start the day, when I say good day to you, make sure you say good day back. Thank you. Hey, Miss Jalen. Thank you, beautiful. Love to see you here hanging out with me. And you gave me some great things. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to incorporate those things. Miss Jalen, thank you for that. Because some of those things was crazy. Shout out to Bubba Homeschool. Good day to you. Appreciate you. I'm proud of you. At least you waited until the police report came out to bring this up. Please do not repeat Twitter rumors like phony fundraiser claims. Did they have fundraiser claims saying that Karmelo Anthony family raised $300,000? And they also had claims that Austin Metcalf also raised $300,000. Twitter rumors. Phony. This whole thing is a horrible tragedy. I should have put I don't know. I feel you on that. Thank you, Under Construction. I appreciate that. I rarely get any positive criticism, so I really appreciate it when it do comes through. Thank you, Under Construction. I forgot to change my banner from yesterday. Goddamn. It's a lot going on in the world. This one's pretty emotional. It's hard to even look at this case without putting your emotions involved. It's difficult for people to look at this case without putting race involved. And it's a difficult case for parents. It's a difficult case for the political world. People want to use this case to mean something that it is not, and they want to try to use this as a catalyst to something that it is not. And we got to start just dealing with information when it hits us as is. It's a lot of just a lot of things that's going on. And I think a lot of people just want to use these things as some kind of way to prove themselves are right. And this thing is not about right or wrong. Thank you so much, Miss Jalen. I really appreciate you.
About to be a situation. Hey, hey, hey.
Miss Jane with the $4 super sticker. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Y'all be just like Miss Jalen. Show some love. Hit the like, hit the share button, send a comment. And if you can in this tough times, I really appreciate it. And a lot of people's having some tough times as well. Thank you so much for the $4 super sticker. Bob says, I think the best outcome will be Karmelo pleading down to second-degree murder. Whoa, that's crazy. I don't think he should. Texas does not have voluntary manslaughter. Very true. It's kind of, but it is in. So that's probably why you're saying second-degree murder. Okay, so you're going strictly off of the Texas law. So yeah, if you're going by Texas law, he would have to plead to that and then deal, and hopefully the judge would just give him to you. Okay, so I see what you're saying. Because they don't have voluntary manslaughter. Clearly, deadly force was not justified in your opinion. But also these are children. So sad. So Bubba does not believe it was justified at all. You don't believe that this young person felt like their life was threatened. All right. I can see that as well. That's why this case is so difficult. Black, and proud. He says, Sharon, when did you and Manwan become friends? I saw you in Manwan trap room yesterday. You mean no Juan Valdez? Because I always drink a nice cup of Juan Valdez coffee. Absolutely. I was having a good time over there too, Black Hawk. I was having a good old time over there. What up, Davey? Good day to you. Thank you again, Under Construction. And this case is, whew. But before we deep dive into the case, and I will just give you my thoughts about it. I don't even know. It's difficult for me to really try to break down the case because they are both young men. I forget all the other stuff that they trying to attach to it that doesn't need to be attached to this case. A lot of stuff they trying to attach to this case, I don't think it should be. I don't think this should be any kind of stepping stone to say somebody's right, somebody's more violent than the other. I mean, it was going wild. So yesterday, I got the word. Speaking of the angry man, my man Juan Valdez. I was over there, bothering him on his show. You know, I'm having some fun with him, teasing him. And then he said that a fellow content creator, even though he doesn't really like me, he doesn't, you know, he's always in disagreements and trying to paint false narratives about me. His name, he go by the name of Uncle Tom. He just went through a huge tragedy as well. His house burned down to the ground. Literally nothing. He has nothing left. Like even his cars and everything was burnt down. And if y'all want, I could play it. So today we will be dedicating whatever portion of Cash Apps we get today. We will be dedicating a portion of that to his family. Just send him something, you know, from the SBG Nation. Yeah, Ms. Jalen, it's kind of crazy. It actually happened on live. They captured the very beginning moments of the fire while he was live. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, yes, Ms. Jalen. I would definitely send. I would just because I sent him something yesterday. But if we want to, you know, whatever we can muster up today, you know, because he lost everything. You know, like, you know, I get, you know, I understand, like, you know, we disagree a lot, and he acts like he doesn't like me or whatever, and it's fun for him to come and troll here. But luckily, you know, all his family members, they got out the house. It was while he was live streaming late at night on the 7th, so this was 2 days ago. He was live streaming. He started to smell the smoke. He ran to go see what happened. He opened the door, and you just see the flames. And then he's running, screaming out to the house to try to get everybody awake because it was, you know, he streams that late at night. And his grandchildren were there and everything. So he got everybody out the house. He got the dogs out the house. But the house completely is down to the ground. They got the pictures to prove it. So it's not no scam or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about it being no scam. Whatever we raise today, we'll definitely send a big portion of that towards him. Because even though you know he might mischaracterize me on purpose to try to make fun of me and everything like that, I don't believe he's really over here with malice. Even though he likes to disrupt things and he likes to argue with me just to argue with me. He's like the, you know, we know Uncle Tom. We know how he acts. You know what I'm saying? Just the way how he acts. Right, even his phone burnt down. Like he didn't even save his phone, so he has nothing but the clothes that he had on at the moment. You know, no. So yeah, he don't even have his phone, but he's in good spirits. He's at his wife's sister house, is how I understand it. He was on so I was on the show. I was on his show last night. They was doing a fundraiser last night. Angry Man pitched in, and his people from the Beano Nation, they all pitched in and put some money in towards just send him some money while he's, you know, we understand that he has insurance and everything should be fine because they got their health. And everything should be fine. He probably could get his house rebuilt and things gonna happen. But in the meantime, in between time, he lost his car, clothes, everything. Like he literally only had his pajamas that he had on. Lost all his food, everything. I mean, like everything is burnt down. Yeah, insurance will absolutely take some time. So, and I'm pretty sure he has a bank account, all these things, and he had something in the bank. But, any little bit at this time help with getting him an extra day here or extra socks, extra clothes. Luckily, he also lives in a place like Florida because this happened late at night, so it wasn't too cold. So salute to them and them being healthy. That's thing. So we even though people get to act like we don't, but in times like this, at least we could we could put something together. Anything that is sent to the Cash App, we could send that over to Uncle Tom. I got his Cash App, so I could send it to him. Like I said yesterday, I was over there yesterday hanging out with him. OG Do Dirty, even though me and OG Do Dirty, we still find a way to get into an argument yesterday, which was crazy. If y'all want, I can play the video if y'all want to see the video of it happen. It's over on LA Wilkes channel. LA Wilkes is the person that reposted it. So, he just wanted everybody to know that this is not no money grab type of situation. This is a real serious situation. Somebody burned down their house. I mean, somebody didn't burn it down, but somebody, well, So, so we can still band together. We don't have to keep painting false narratives. Even though I went over there, they was trying to paint some. It was crazy. I went over there. I was just trying to show some love and support. I sent them some Cash App, like I said before. And anybody part of SBG Nation, send me money to the Cash App. We're gonna help out Uncle Tom the best way. Akram Sim said, "Play it." What's up, Tiff? Even though Uncle Tom, he's a man with a tongue ring, acting crazy, and he always come over here to disrupt the channel. He don't actually have nothing to say, but contrarian questions. I don't wish nothing bad on nobody, so it is what it is. And if we can, please hit the likes. And it's okay. It's okay. We don't got to tell nobody out. Everybody just act proper so we can get through the conversation today. We don't need to, like, every day it's not the time to be fighting with somebody. Yeah, they still gonna, it's so crazy, Miss J. They still gonna try to bother me no matter even when we playing. It's weird. Like even when I went over there, Miss Jalen, and I was being sympathetic and empathetic and just being just trying to get more eyes on it and help them go through a conversation and just so people could be entertained while also want to support them through this tough time. They were still trying to get at me, Miss Jalen. You know what I'm saying, Miss Jada? Like, it's crazy. Like, it's just wild sometimes when you just hearing and see it, Miss Jalen. It's just wild. Like, they still would try to act like as if I be trying to hurt somebody and trying to discredit them. Yes, Doc must say everybody was safe. The grandkids, his wife, the kids that was sleeping there, and his dogs. Everybody absolutely got out safe. So that's really awesome that he, the wild thing about it is that luckily that he is somewhat a narcoleptic and he can't sleep, and that's why he do late streams in the first place. So it probably was a good thing that he does late streams and he can't sleep at night because this happened late at night. This happened at the very end of his stream. And yeah, man. And plus, I believe he lived in a rural place, so it wasn't like it was ample time for probably the fire department to get there in time. So, like, I mean, the pictures of what is left is insane. Like, I mean, even the car is burnt down to a crisp. Either man. So today we are trying to the money that I sent to the Cash App, we're gonna send it over to Uncle Tom, Either man, because he had a fire 2 days ago while he was on live stream, and his house and his cars burnt down to the ground. So we're gonna try to even though Uncle Tom is somebody that is a discreditor of me, it's still somebody that I know, and I don't think he really actually wishes any malice for me. He's just a annoying type of person. Yeah, world class, wrong class. So yeah, so again, so for the people that didn't know, because everybody don't know, so I just want to bring some light to it so people can know. You know what? I will find the video so y'all can see it. Yeah, so yeah, we talking about Uncle Tom and whatever money we raise on the Cash App, we're gonna send it over to him and his family while they dealing with insurance and all these other things. Because all that stuff takes time. Yo, that is a crazy name. You got to change that name, bro. That is crazy. You know what, matter of fact, let me put it on before I get some trolls in here. Let me start it because y'all not even hitting the like button or nothing. And also, the crazy part is as well, not only Uncle Tom got into a goddamn fire, but also DJ Witch Doctor last night. He got a fire as well. He's living in an apartment building, and no, these are not related incidents. One they lived in completely different states, but also DJ Witch Doctor, for some strange reason, he was living in an apartment, and the neighbor right above him, house caught on fire. So now he had to go sleeping. So he had to call. So DJ Witch Doctor last night, while he got his neighbor above him got to fire. So all the water from the fire department came down into his house, and so he had to call. Izzy Bands to give him some pointers on how he should keep warm for the night. It's crazy. So he couldn't sleep in his goddamn house. So that's wild that it happened to two content creators within this space alone. That's wild. What you mean, Dev? I'm not trying to bother thieves. I'm just saying that's kind of wild that it's happening so close to where people that we actually had at least passing ins with, right? So I went over to Witch Doctor too. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, Witch Doctor, you live with Uncle Tom? What you talking about? Like, how's this happening on the same time? He's like, yeah, man, this shit is crazy. But yeah, so shout out to the people. People be going through some things. So sometimes that's why I really don't be getting upset and mad when people try to come here and release their anger and stress, even though I know it's misplaced and they trying to talk through me and they try to use me to say that I'm, I know it's not really about me. They just be upset because life be life, and goddamn it. Life be life. And not only that, so we also have another person in this space, Free the Green. I don't know if y'all know Free the Green. Free the Green got into, he was actually in the car with Little Boosie, and he got into a very serious car accident. So that's crazy too. All this happened in the last 2 days. What's up, Genesis? What's up, Genesis? Oh, you like my joke of the day, huh? All right, so since Genesis says she likes my jokes of the day, okay. A joke of the day, since we're in such a serious day. Genesis. If a stud is a power bottom and she's throwing it back, are we gonna call that studussy? What you mean, tough? I thought that still bussy. We gonna call that still bussy. What's up, Odie? Oh, damn. Joke of the day. Poppy Blanco looked like the cinnamon stick on Apple Jack box. Bang, bang. Stabussy. That's what Tiff said. No, it's called Stabussy. Damn. Y'all let me know if y'all want to make sure y'all hitting that like and that share button. Let's get this information out into the ethosphere. This is how we really help the channel grow and move forward. We got to hit that like and that share button. Let's keep it moving. We should be having it should be no problem to be hitting the like button, because we wound up realizing that only people that's going to take care of us is us, even if we don't like each other. Even though me and Uncle Tom had plenty of back and forth, even though me and Uncle Tom and everybody that's over there on the port session, we had plenty of back and forth. Even last night, they was trying to discredit me and make me look crazy. At the end of the day, we came together and to support his channel and his show so we could get him some clothes, food, whatever it is that can possibly help him today. So we got to stop thinking that we are enemies with each other. We got to stop painting fake narratives about each other and say, oh, over there you be doing this and over here you do this. That shit don't really mean nothing at the end of the day. Like, to be honest with you, when I'm having a conversation, I'm just really just having a conversation with you at the moment. It was almost. Thank you, Blue Jay. Right. And so, like, even last night, I'm having a conversation with LA Wilkes, and he tried to say that, like, I'm a salesman and I'm a liar. Everything that I'm saying, I don't believe. And I just be saying stuff. He literally says something that is what we should say, that is a important part of conversations, that I'm able to process the information in real time and have and think about what is said, and I don't regurgitate information. He tried to make it seem like that's me not being authentic. That is not me being genuine. He said because we are liars, but that's also possibly because LA Wilkes, he's in law enforcement. He's a retired law enforcement, so he has a negative outlook on how people are. And it's not an easy thing to get out of it. And one of the things we was having a conversation about, he's like, so you always think positive? I said, yes, I purposely think in a positive direction. And this is probably why I get beat up a lot when I go to other places, because other people cannot force themselves into positive thinking. It's much easier. What I was telling him is much easier to regress into negative thinking. Eating healthy, going to run, working out, waking up in the morning is much more difficult than sleeping in, sitting on the couch, eating unhealthy, eating chips, watching TV, not reading a book. All those things are easy. So it's easy to be in the negative space. And if you live in the negative space long enough, you become jaded to what the real world is showing you. And now you're attacking people that is attempting to do the right things. See, like we have Black, he's always saying that I'm disingenuous, even though I'm being a very genuine person. Because they would rather deal with somebody else that is negative than deal with positivity and productivity. Yo, world class. That's probably the issue, right? I don't actually think in words, right? I think in. It's weird, right? I don't think about words. So I understand that's probably why, I think completely different from other people. I think within positivity, and I try to find a productive outcome out of things. I'm not deep diving into the realm of negativity and say, hey, everybody is negative. Everybody is disingenuous. But that's really because a lot of people, when they look in the mirror, they see themselves as being dishonest or disingenuous, and nobody else can actually be the opposite. And so, like, and I get it. It might be a weird thing. That's a possibility, Black. You know, it could be weird, but that's just how I think. Am I weird? Possible. Clearly, I am. And that's why so many people have a problem with positive thinking. Right, Blue Jay. And this is why I understand why I get so much pushback too. Because people just don't want to believe that I'm being truly me 100%. Because I don't need nobody to side with me. I'm just dealing with the truth as is. And so he believes that when I'm saying I'm positive, that I'm a liar. When I'm telling the truth, they actually think it's a lie. When I'm being 100% myself, they think that's a lie. When I'm being honest, they say that's a lie. When I'm being genuine, they say, oh, you disingenuine. And mainly is because I disagree with they talking points. That's the main reason why I am the negative person or the disingenuine person. Because I could argue they thoughts in real time and without throwing any salt into the conversation. Because let's think about it. Last night, I'm having a conversation and he's saying literally, you just made that up. And he made it seem like me thinking about it in real time and having a rebuttal to his exact question was a bad thing. Just think about that. You isn't that what we want? We want people to be self-thinkers. At least I want people to be self-thinkers. This is why I say stop regurgitating things that you've seen or heard somebody else say. And for some reason, people do not want you to do that. And it goes with this case as well. We need people to be self-thinkers with a case like this. Because the law say things, morals say things, and law in different states is going to say other things. The way how we raise our children is going to affect their decision making. And so if somebody like Black believes that because I think in emotions that I cannot make sense, that's the weirdest thing to me. When every human being have emotions and I make sense of my emotions and then I interpret my emotions into words. That's how I keep myself out of trouble. That's how I kept myself alive for all these years. So I disagree that thinking in emotions is the reason why I don't make sense. I think a lot of times men are afraid to deal with their emotions because they believe that they have to be have some emotional stoicism. And you got to be able to think critically. And you got to be able to understand the emotions that you're having at the time. So me processing the emotions that I'm having and then being able to turn those emotions into words is how I made it to this big old age. So you might look at it as a negative. I look at it as a positive. Gimpy said, play stupid games, you win stupid prizes in real time. Exactly, Blue Jay. And negative emotions are still emotions. Being anger is a emotion. And you got to be able to control those things. That's why it's more difficult to be positive. But I believe positivity is a stronger emotion than negativity. But negativity is an easier emotion to navigate through. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Shout out to shout out to Uncle Tom getting support from somebody that he probably would not agree with on a lot of percent of the time, right? But shout out to, I don't know if she want me to say her name. However,
About to be a situation.
shout out to it says for Uncle Tom. And whenever we have a donation or any kind of support that is over $50, we have a little bit special, a little special song for you. Let's go. Oh, that's right. So thank you so much, and I'm pretty sure he will enjoy it, that he's getting some kind of love and response, even though we got to stay positive and productive. That's how we get through things, especially when you could easily go into a negative space when something this traumatic happens to you and your family. Thank you to everybody. So the SBG, we will be sending some money over to Uncle Tom, even though Uncle Tom is annoying as hell. Even though he's annoyed as hell. Goddamn, the wrong class. But you might not be wrong about that part. But I think that's why this case is so important. It's about negative and positive thinking, and we have to teach our children a different way to have conflict resolution. Because I do not want to say that this young man should be going to the jail for the rest of his life. We should not be losing 2 children to the situation. Both these children, even though they were 17, both of these young men was on the way to a great life. Or, decisions, right? They was good grades, dope athletes. I believe both of them come from 2-parent households. Man, it's crazy, right? So it's just 2 young dudes in Texas, right? We just call them Austin and Karmelo with a K because those are their real names. So they was at a high school track meet, and of all places now, let me tell you, track meets are supposed to be about running away from people, not running at them with bad intentions. But anyway, things go sideways over there. Apparently, there's some beef. Who knows what it was about? Some people saying it's because of a tent. Some people saying he was a bully. We don't really know. Maybe someone stepped on someone new kicks. Things that young men get into beefs and fights with at athletic situations is some of the most minimal things you could think of. It could have stemmed from seeing each other at other track meets. We don't really know or understand. They might know each other in passing and seen each other before. We don't know. We don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes. Right? We just seen recently of somebody got hit over the head with a baton in a goddamn relay race. Track is getting crazy. We just seen that happen. But next thing you know, things escalate. Carmel's wants Austin's, yo, don't touch me. And in true dramatic fashion, Austin's like, oh, I'm touching you, all right? So they go back and forth a little bit. Words exchanged, and then tragically, Austin ends up getting stabbed. And game over. Lights out. Then now we have the law that shows up. So now we need to break it down. Kamal's like, it was in self-defense. He was coming at me. And man, this is a lot for me to think through. This is a lot for me to think through, to be honest. It's a lot for me to think through, to be honest. What's up, Dawn? I got to take a break in my mentality, in my mental. Goddamn. Can we please get the lights up? You know what? While y'all, let's get it together. I'm not like this. I don't understand it, but I'm going to pause the show real quick because we need to hit the like button. We need to hit that share button. We need to support each other Because guess what? When things happen, we are the only ones that are supporting each other. I do not understand for the life of me. I'm asking you for likes and shares. I mean, I could just turn this stream I could do a stream strictly just for Uncle Tom as well. Yeah, we could do that. Right after we mine this conversation out, you know that we'll just redirect everybody. We'll do the very next show. We do a fundraiser strictly for annoying ass Uncle Tom. Absolutely, Ms. Jalen. We can do that. We just have a good time and we try to have some jokes. Yeah. But in the meantime, all right, Ms. Jalen, yeah, we could do that. I'm gonna mine this show out. I'm gonna drop the link. We're gonna try to have a decent conversation. And the next show, we're gonna dedicate it strictly to them. And still, you know, whatever's sent on this show will also go with the other show as well. Yeah, we gotta, and that's the thing. We need to start really, Ms. Jalen. People need to start really pushing their BS aside. Like if we are going to against ourselves in our own space, it doesn't make sense for growth for none of the channels. Like, man, but what we're gonna do is this. We need to get to at least 100 likes and 100 shares. I need y'all to work with me. Seriously, I need y'all to work with me. Like, I need y'all help. I can't keep just fighting everybody making these fake accusations, say I don't do this and I don't do that, and they make it seem like it's not okay to come here. We need to stop with the BS narratives, especially within our own people. It's okay we don't like each other. We don't like each other's ideas, but it's not cool to be trying to disparage other people from going to other channels just for no reason. It's okay. Hit the like and the share button. We need to get out of this negative thinking that we can't hit the like and the share button. I had somebody yesterday with zero subscribers hit the share button. Thank you so much. It really helps. So let's get it together. We got 120 people. We should have 110 likes. I'm gonna see if we can get to 110 likes. Go ahead, y'all figure it out. It's crazy. Right. And so where was I? The young man, he was like, it's self-defense, right? And he said that the young man, Austin, was coming at him. And the lawyers started doing a lawyer thing, right? So they coming through all the legals and the justifiables. And I think that's where the real conversation is, like, what is legal, what is justifiable. Meanwhile, the community, right? I seen it last night. You know, the community is a mixed. You know, people that are adding things into things that shouldn't be there, right? How did it get there? Can we teach? What we need to be talking about is how can we teach kids to handle conflict without ending in this mess? Because let's be real, no one wins here. One lost a life and one's life is forever changed. And now we just got to keep thinking about what went wrong. But this is where we got to start pivoting into something positive. This should be a wake-up call. A reminder that teaching empathy, communication, and conflict resolution shouldn't just be optional electives in life. It's going to be as mandatory as those horrible PE classes where you have to run a mile for no good reason at all. At least that's what it felt like. This tragedy doesn't have to be for nothing. If we would just use it to spark change, maybe inspire schools to start real conversations about handling emotions. And maybe kids can learn it's okay to step back, breathe, and walk away. Because here's the thing about life, it's all about decisions. And while the past cannot be undone, the future is still unwritten. We just got to write with a little bit more kindness, a little more patience. And, you know, for the love of God, fewer fucking knives and guns. And that's the real conversation we need to be having. Not by if it's a race thing, or black people more violent or white people more, like that shouldn't matter. We talking about young men that we trying to act as if we haven't been saying these things for years. If somebody put their hands on me, what I'm gonna do to them? We know the talk. We see it happen on these panels every day. It's crazy. It's crazy. We still need 20 likes. That's insane. It's freaking annoying. It's freaking annoying. But I dropped the link. Anybody want to go through the actual, if you want to go through the actual case and tell me what the police report says and we could mine that out, I have no problem with that as well. If you want to try to make it whatever you want to make it, we can have a conversation so we can get to and through the meat and the potatoes of everything. After this, we're going to do a show strictly dedicated to Tom and his family. But it's time for us to stop trying to always paint other people into narratives because we don't know how much we are affecting our youth. All this misinformation that we continuously doing because we seeing the powers that be, like, you know, the MAGA situation, that is the powers that be. We see that they use misinformation all the time. We cannot continuously do it. It's not good. It's going to push people to do the wrong things. We know how a majority of people, especially people that live in those stand your ground states, they believe this. You put your hands on me, I'm going to shoot you. Why do we think that's not going to translate into our young men, our young ladies? Majority of these young people do not want to fight. So while we looking back at it now and saying, hey, they should have just had a regular schoolball fight, everybody go home. But, you know, Pops from Friday, he said it best. We use these. When I was growing up, we did for a little part of the time. But it quickly evolved into nobody want to get teased and laughed at because they got beat up. Also, people don't fight fair. He had his team. He was by himself. He didn't think he's going to get a fair fight. And just the idea of getting beat up or jumped, sometimes that hits hard because people tease. And people are not taught in schools how to handle their goddamn emotions on why they are bullying or why you getting bullied, right? Those are two different emotions. The bully, he also is bullying because he probably is something happening somewhere. But since he don't want to speak about his emotions, he takes it out on school, classmates, and people around him. Well, I understand that a lot of times when people come here and they try to lie on me, I know that they really gone through something else and it don't have nothing to do with me, for real. That's why I know a lot of my real supporters that actually is hitting the like button, they hit the share button, they hit a cash app or a super chat when they can. My real people, they get upset with me. They're like, why you let them? Because, man, some of these people need it. We don't even know that we might be stopping somebody by allowing them to come up here and thinking that they disrespected me by saying nonsense and lying on me. I might be saving somebody else because they got all of that frustration out. Because we see it happen all the time that a lot of grown-ass men cannot maintain and control their emotions. Because a lot of men feel like anger is the only emotion they're supposed to show. I appreciate that.
About to be a situation. Hey, hey, hey.
Shout out to Gimpy. Good to find out. He said, dude, have a shot of me. You seem stressed, bud. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me drink my shot. I appreciate it. But it's true, Gimpy, but there's a lot of stressful things that's happening out. And we just not having, it seems like we just like talking past each other. And like nobody really want to have a conversation with each other for real. They just want to, talk about what they want to talk about instead of talking about what's actually happening. And what is actually happening between these two young men is that both these young kids' lives is done. Haitian, the sensation with the $2. Grand Rising. BR Sharon. I don't know what BR is. Slid in to share real quick. Thank you. I appreciate that, Haitian. It really helps out. Thank you. So they saying that the blade was 6-inch? That's crazy. So I disagree, Gimpy. I think the world is more positive than negative. I think it's more good people than bad people. And I think every day shows it that do we have crime? Yes. But even when we go with the crime, it's only like 0.1% of human beings in America that's actually committing the crime. So I think for the most part, we just tend to, this is why when we see something so wild like this happens, we tend to say, this is happening everywhere, but it's really not. And I think one of our problems that we have, we are not talking about how people feel, and now we see it happens on a day-to-day basis in real time. People do not get a chance to talk. Majority of people do not get a chance. Oh, it means bro. Oh, bruh. Thank you, Haitian. A million plus Chinese. Okay, so I think when we talking about nations and war and people, like I understand that argument, but me, I do not put war in governments and nations into this conversation of good and bad, because I don't think it's fair to do that, because that is powers at B, whatever nation we talking about, that's powers at B manipulating people for money to go and do something that they would not normally do. But for the most part, the people that's in the country, if they didn't have these powerful human beings or powerful entities pushing them to do all these negative things, I don't think they would naturally do it. Myrie said we need some more facts on this case. So I could pull up the police report. I could pull up the police report. I don't think nobody really want to and I could pull up the police report, Myrie. The problem is I don't know, like at this point, proving who was in the right or who's in the wrong, how's that going to move us forward? How's that going to move us forward? Because really, we got to start talking to the young people, because they are starting to hear us say the things that we said. You put your hands on me, I'm going to kill you. Like, we hear that rhetoric. You put your hands on me, I'm going to shoot you. I ain't fighting no more. We even have Jalen. He would come on and say, like, hey, I don't fight, I do this. It trickles down to the intelligent people, the stupid people, the young people, the old people, the females, and all these things. And just we keep on moving this cycle of who's right and who's wrong, and nobody's listening to each other. And then then we have people, and we even see, I'm pretty sure y'all seen somebody somewhere do a show, and they trying to push out, like what Flamethrower is saying, they want to fuel some goddamn fake ass race war. That is not going to happen, because majority of people do not want to be fighting, shooting, and killing each other. Right, Davey? And the facts my read is that, hey, listen, this young man, he's gonna have to deal with this for the rest of his life, because this is gonna be a nationwide thing. This is gonna carry around with him for a very long time. And I hope that he does get some therapy. And the fact of the matter is that it could be avoided if we just start talking to each other with some common sense, and we talk to each other with some positivity, instead of always leading on the negativity, as that's what we want to build our life on. We got to stop saying out loud, I'm going to delete somebody. Gimpy, what you mean by that? Yes, majority of the people just want small lives and leaders to carry out. That's not crazy, T-Dub. That's the truth. I don't know why, since when men are scared to just tell the truth. And the truth of the matter is that both these young men lost their lives, and we should not be promoting. And so my main problem is this: I don't want to be promoting young men taking other young men's lives. So for me, I'm kind of like, don't want to talk about what the facts are and who is right, because we're gonna get into who's right and who's wrong. Should he have stabbed him? Should he have pushed him? Should he have been in the tent? Was he a bully? Was he not a bully? Did they know each other? Did they see each other in passing? All these BS things that does not excuse nobody for none of this situation at all. Let's deal with the fact that we need to have young men understand that they got to start expressing their goddamn emotions, so they won't take it out physically, because it's going to put them in some situation where they either taking a life or taking their own life by going to jail. Where were the teachers and the coaches? That's a great question, Gimpy. Where were they? Why y'all keep ignoring that? Hey, what was happening? Why was he in the tent? Why was he there? What, that doesn't really matter? Why these young men don't know how to do no goddamn conflict resolution? Why are young men afraid to have a conversation about emotion? Why are grown men afraid to have conversations about emotion? Shout out to Otis who net with the $2. I liked, I donate, I share, and I still don't like you. Shout out to Otis who. I appreciate you. Thank you. Hey, don't you have some mayor elections going on over there? How that's going? How is that going? What Aries Queen says, and it's okay for people to have just opposite opinions, and that's why we got to get through it. You got people in the chat talking about people are done if we have this kind of race war. By the numbers, yeah, they're correct, right? If they have the numbers, but the problem is they don't realize that if we was to have one, it doesn't mean that they have 100% of their race on their side. It's just like the Civil War. You want to have, it won't be just one race versus another. It'll be one mental thinking versus another mental thinking. That's the problem that most people have. They're not seeing that. That's the real thing that most people don't understand, is that it's really going to go into who is thinking in the same way. So this whole idea of a race war, the way how people try to make it seem as if Uncle Tom is just going to just switch sides and say, hey, now I'm going to have to kill my wife. That's what you think he's going to do? No. Or like, that's what you think he's going to do? That he's just going to go and say, hey, babe, I love you. Now I got to kill everybody in your family because it's a race war. No, that's not what's going to happen. That's not what the race war is going to be. The race war will be, right, Flamethrower guy, it'd be races against non-races. That will what the race war would actually be, not actually just one skin tone versus another skin tone. So this idea that people have is a lot of people want to believe in anarchy. This is why they voted that man in the first place. So again, Ronnie, we are not outnumbered. I think a lot of times people, this is the problem that we have. People want to believe in this whole anarchy situation where we literally have a split off, cut off divide. No, that's not what, that doesn't happen in this country. People are going to get together, and people that is like-minded, it's going to be two teams, the like-minded versus the other side. That's it. It ain't going to be just one skin tone versus another skin tone. That's not going to happen in America. It never did. It never will. And we know that for a fact. The ones that, hey, I understand. It seemed that way because the ones that got into power, the ones that's the politician that, you know, they did a doozy on us. They made sure they held certain people back strictly because they color their skin. We get that. But if you think somebody's supposed to be scared of Imperious, please. He's a little man. Not physically, I'm talking about neither. Because I never seen him. But I don't want to fuel no BS, fake ass war that we are not going to have. I just want to be more logical and be realistic to what is happening. Hey, baby, can you make me a coffee, please? And they're not going to make me be afraid of speaking my mind. I'm never going to be afraid of that. I got a new one in the cabinet. That one is done. That's a great point, Bubba. Right? Like we don't need to be honest. Right. My readers just, you know, like it's no need to talk about who fault it is. It's just talk about what's the solution moving forward. Because nobody wins. That young black man, he ain't gonna win with this. That young white people's family, they ain't gonna win. They gonna forever be having every year. They're gonna be reminded every year on that day that it happened. Literally, it's gonna be a crazy case to see for real, because this is the first. This is going. Well, probably is most likely not the first time, but it's going to be a first time that is a media driven case where we can actually still see the victim because it was a twin. So while they having the conversation with the jury and everybody, you can actually still potentially see the victim because they are twins. They identical twins. It's not. It's very rare that you can actually see the person that's died. You can actually physically see them because something like such a media case like this haven't happened. So his twin brother being in the court talking about it, man, that's gonna play a role. Depends on the lawyer if he's gonna play that card and play that sympathy card with the jury. But also, what I understand is that the brother that held his twin brother until his life left his body, he doesn't feel like he want to blame the young man for stabbing him. He understood that it was a lot of screaming and yelling and things should not have happened the way how it happened. Welcome to the show, Tezzy Cade. Good day, sir. How you?
Good day. Good day. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
All right. Now, it was self-defense, but the thing, how old is he? Because I never got that.
They both 17.
Oh, 17. Okay, yeah. Because I was watching it on DJ Hampton and all that, and I got all the points of views, but I mean, the whole thing is they still gonna charge him, which is kind of sad. But why do you have a knife in your presence? And then another point is, he said, "Touch me again and see what happens."
Mm-hmm.
In my point of view, that's like you trying to test me or something. So
that's like you trying to what?
That's kind of like me testing you. Because touch me and see if it's gonna happen again. Like, what do that sound like to you?
That sounds like you're not going to threaten me. Stop telling me to leave here, and if you touch me, it's going to be a problem. Don't touch me.
Now the thing is, they not gonna see that like that in the court though. They gonna look at that as
it depends on the lawyer, right? So
yeah, it does.
Because at the same time, does this young man not have a right to sit there under that tent?
He did.
Okay, so therefore that young person, that the instigator, we cannot now say the person that was trying to kick the person out, that was started the situation, is the one that we need to be feeling, you know what I'm saying? So this is why I don't really want to talk about it, because we just deal with the information, right? We take out the race, we take out the people, right? We just talk about what is happening, right? The person that is instigating and he's saying, "Hey, if you don't get out of here, I'm gonna do something to you." And he said, "All right, well, touch me and you see what happened to you." Who's in the wrong when you hear it that way?
And then I gotta give him some grace because he's 17.
No. So, but I'm saying, like, we gotta really think about how young people communicate. It doesn't go, "Hey man, why you in our tent? You need to leave. Touch me and find out." Does that sound like the correct way?
To me, it doesn't. Because, I mean, like, it's all about the choices.
But I understand the choices, right? And this is why, that's why I was saying what I was saying before. But you want to get down, like, that's why I want to have an open dialogue with anybody. I want to have a conversation about what happened, right? And how they see it, so we could just get different kind of informations.
And the thing is, I didn't know that he was 17. Now I gotta look at it from a different point of view.
Absolutely.
Right. So, but then again, when does the parents come in at, and why you got a knife on you? And then on top of that, I gotta also look at it from the point of view, okay, where the parents come in, and why didn't he if he was getting bullied, why didn't he go to the parents first, or to a supervisor, or whoever that's an older adult?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In that situation, why didn't he go to that? Why was that his first line of thought?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what I wanted to talk about earlier. Like, we need to have a conversation about how young people need to have conflict resolution. That's what we really need to be talking about. And we need to start talking to our young folks and say, hey, you should not be bullying nobody. And you should not, if you are getting bullied, you need to learn how to walk away. And now if that bully chases you, that's a whole different story, right? But now when we're just dealing with this story here, do you believe most 17-year-olds, the conversation goes like this: you need to get out of my tent, touch me, and you're going to find out? Do you think that's how the conversation actually went?
I mean,
yes or no? Okay.
Are you saying, is that how
okay,
most?
Okay, so yes, in the reports, don't make me have to. So
And then
get out. So the kid said, "Get out my tent." What you think was the next thing being said?
I mean, touch me. Oh my goodness, Sharon, come on, man.
Do you think that? So I say, "Get out my tent." What is the next thing you think a 17-year-old man is going to say? It's okay. We could just be honest, right? If you want to have a conversation about the situation, let's just be honest.
He probably gonna say,
yeah, you can look in the chat. They telling you, I help you out. They say, make me. That's what a young kid was gonna say. Get out my tent, make me.
Now, hold on, wait a minute. See, okay. Now, I can't bring my personal bias in it, but if that was me at 17, I probably would have just walked away.
Okay.
Until he actually touched me. Oh, now wait, did he touch him first before he said that?
Right. That's we could walk it down together. All right. I say, get out my tent, and then the other kid, he says, make me. What is after that? When you say make me, what do I say to you now? That's where it gets sketchy.
Okay.
Because we don't know what it said after that, because now we got to worry about what did he say back to him. All right, get out my tent, make me. What was said after that?
Damn. Man, I ain't gonna hold you. I would have just walked away. I ain't gonna hold you, man.
Right.
I gotta be.
But we have to. But the problem is that
now if he would have touched me, now let's break it down. If he would have touched me, I'm throwing hands. See, I'm not getting a knife, because you got to fight fire with fire. Now, if the other person that touched me had a knife, I'm walking away. But if he doesn't have a weapon, I'm throwing a fist. So the first line of thinking is like, why do you get a knife? Oh, and that's where it gets sketchy at, because you said touch me again, see what happens, and then you get the knife. See, now that's what the course is going to look at, and from that point of view, why would you say touch me again, see what happened? In street terms, like, you pretty much asking me to touch you. You know what I'm saying? So then you got the knife. Then now the kid has ended up dead. You see how that happens?
Let me go look up this official police report, because they saying that it is out. Somebody send the link to the official police report. What's up, Sonic? What's your thoughts on the subject?
Hey, I say self-defense.
Why is that?
If the Zoomerman self-defense, if that Ron House boy self-defense.
Now, what's the correlation between those two?
I'm just saying, like, the thing of like standing your ground and all that stuff. If it's because think about George Zimmerman, he followed old boy around and they told him not to, and he still did it, and then he still got off. Old boy went to the rally with the guns and shot them people, and he got off. So okay, he walked into the tent. A dude put his hands on him. He said, "Put your hands on me, or else." He did it again, and he gave him the business.
Okay, so you're saying because we have since we have a case law, other people doing the same thing he's doing, you saying that it should be self-defense.
Yep, it should be
And
equal. It should be
and
equal. It should be equal. If we go says stay your ground with everybody, it should be staying ground with everybody. It should be no. Oh well, it's different. No, if it's staying your ground, it's staying your ground.
and I think that's where we get it, where it's dicey for some strange reason in this case. And I'm not sure why it is. Did he stand his ground? So because a lot of people saying that he cannot be stand his ground because he said, touch me, see what happened. That's the
Okay,
weird,
so then
that's the
that was a
weirdest part
warning.
to me.
That
I
was a
don't
warning.
understand why that is considered to be not a stand your ground situation because he said that.
That's like a warning. That's like a police saying, put your hands up, or I'll shoot." And you don't put your hands up, and they shoot your ass. We're like, "Oh well." He said, "Touch me, see what happened." Oh, old dude thought it was funny. Touched him, and you saw what happened.
Yeah, and I agree with home official purge, right? That's another problem. Texas law is not really clear on what is going on with this situation. That's another problem too. Texas law is what's muddying this water at this moment as well. Welcome to the show, Afro
And
Nerd. Good day, Afro Nerd.
sometimes you do gotta put race in it, because
Damn,
if it was the other way around, we probably wouldn't have heard about it, or it'd been like, "Oh well, it was self-defense off
maybe.
top."
Afro Nerd, what is your thoughts on this situation? And if you can, try to keep race out of it, so this way we can have a compelling argument. But do as you do.
Good morning.
Good day.
Well, first, it's a tragedy, man.
Oh man,
You know, and I hate seeing young brothers get caught up in these kind of things where they can't think beyond being 17. That's the problem. That's a major thing. Like, you're not always going to be 17. So it's important for the parenting to impart that on the young people, that you can't constantly get into situations thinking that this is your world, because your world, you won't even see these people in a few years. In a few years, they would just be a thought. Like, that's how you have to navigate yourself like this as a grown person, because I see grown people of all racial strata.
And you know what, Afro Nerd, I didn't really think about this part of and adding this into the conversation, Afro Nerd. Like, interracial crime is not really, it doesn't happen that often. And so when it does happen, that's another reason why it's such like, oh shit, how are we going to handle this? I didn't really factor that part into it, because we all know the tropes, right? Black on black crime. And, so I think that's another component. I didn't add that into my mental thinking of it. Do you think that is a major part of it? Is that because it's an interracial back and forth, and we have no choice but to see the race?
Sharon, if you and your audience will give me a little grace to it, because I'm the information guy, and I get hated on for some reason. All right. So I'm going to tell you something that happened a few years ago that hit me hard in your hunting grounds in Brooklyn. If you remember, there was a young Hasidic male child, that was killed horrifically. And the first thought on the part of the Hasidic community was that this was probably someone not of the Jewish faith, not someone from the Hasidim, that killed this child. This is, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. Maybe 10 or more years ago. When the smoke cleared and they found out who killed that child, it turned out to be from someone within that community. I think they found him in a refrigerator or something. I mean, something horrific. And you could feel the way the tension went away. Like, all of a sudden, it was like you felt this. Everyone was on high alert that this was someone not of the Hasidic faith. When they found out it was another Hasidic person, the temperature went down. And it's like, oh, this is one of ours, and we have to handle it differently. And that's when I said, wow, this tribal thing really works out kind of crazy, because I'm not of that faith, but I still felt something looking at this child. I didn't look at it as a Hasidic child. I said, wow, this is just bad. I didn't put race into it, but race is going to be a factor on how this is going to be perceived. That we go into these tribal spaces. So I hope that they're able to come up with a legitimate bullying reasoning for this. And we do see this is why because I have friends in the school space, right, in the academic space and administrative space, and they're constantly telling me stories of bullying and how they cannot intervene. So what happens is the administrators oftentimes are told that children are being bullied, and what we usually see it on the flip side, that the victim ends up self-deleting because they've been bullied so relentlessly, right? So if he has a legitimate timeline to say, hey, repeatedly this kid kept on poking the bear, then he might have a leg to stand on. But being a black male in Texas, well, already it was kind of one and done. This is how it happened. It was just in a fit of anger. You had this. This was an honor student, white male, and you have Karmelo Anthony, right, with a K on the other side. Like the setup is already there, and I applaud the black community, and I'll land the plane here. I applaud the black community in one sense that sometimes we may have to look at it like the way Rittenhouse was looked at, right? No one paid any attention of a GoFundMe page for Rittenhouse. Well, let's put it this way: his tribe pushed that. Others didn't necessarily like it, but they went forward with it anyway, right? The more locally, the Michael Jackson performer in the subway, there was a GoFundMe for that person, not the victim, and people just let that go. So when the black community does this, all of a sudden now it's got to be analyzed. If you're not analyzing the other side when they're putting together their defense, then we have to be very clear about the defense for this black male, if there is a legitimate defense. And I hope that there is one, because it doesn't make any sense. I'll leave it at that.
Welcome to the show for the first time, I believe, CJ Bazemore from the SPS podcast. Good day, sir. How you doing?
How's it going? My audio's good. You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well. Yes.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, man. I was just first off, appreciate putting me on the panel, man. I know I ain't got much time here because I be at work every time you do these long lives, brother. Like I be trying to get up here, you be saying great things, but you do it during the time frames. Well, Uncle Sam needs me to be at work. But I was reading a report, man, when I was in the office. Like I got it on my other phone now, and to some degree, I want to put it as self-defense because technically it's 2 times he actually touches or assaults him physically. Austin, the white boy, physically assaults him or touches him. And after the first time, he does say, touch me again, see what happens. He does it a second time, and that's when he opens up the bag. But he doesn't necessarily pull nothing out or claims what's in it. But I feel like those 2 parts alone should have been enough to be like, the adults, which I think only in one report confirms that there were 2 adults inside the tent while one was standing outside who was labeled as a coach. And I don't get why the adults didn't get involved in this. That's the part that gets me. Because by the time there's a third scuffle, which is at this point, Austin physically tries to get Anthony or Karmelo out of the tent. That's when he stabs him in the chest. And unfortunately, what happens? They lose Austin. But what I don't get is in this whole scuffle, there was adults there within the vicinity. Why didn't adults handle this? I feel like adults play a fault in this situation.
My thoughts is he was in the rival area, and it probably was the coach. The coach was probably cool with it. It was okay, but then once that knife came out, then that's when it became a problem. But it was too late by then, so they probably was okay with you, scuffling. And kick his ass out the tent. They probably was all on that until that knife pulled out and he stabbed, and it was too late. Then now it's
exactly.
like,
Okay.
Now something. Now some
So that
situation.
is interesting. I didn't know that he did push him 2 times. Welcome. Thank you for that information. And please, if you could drop the link to the police report, that would be very helpful, CJ, if you can. If you could drop in the back chat, if you can. I know you're probably on your phone, so I know it ain't that easy. Chaotic Truth, good day, sir. Welcome to the show. What's your thoughts?
Well, I am the Negro Whisperer for one reason and one reason alone. I have the ability to critique and analyze Black issues to a 99% accurate degree. Salute to you, Sharon. I called it 2 weeks ago when this incident happened. That boy, and I said it. I said, I bet you that boy is smaller than that white boy. Oh, no. He's 6'1". He's 6'2". He's 6'3", chaotic. No, he's not. No, he's not. I bet you that white boy touched that black boy. No, chaotic. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Of course you're gonna take the side of the black people, even though I really don't. I'm more or less neutral. It came out in the police report. The white boy put his fucking hands on him. Excuse my language. When the white boy's brother was giving his testimony on the news, the white boy's brother was stuttering and stammering, couldn't even finish the story. Because you know why? First of all, teenagers have the inability to critically think to a high degree, to even to the point of even lying. So he hasn't even mastered the art of lying. So that's why he got the stuttering, because he really wanted to lie. What happened was they approached that black kid. This was a sporting event. They approached him probably aggressively. I don't want to say that they called him the N-word or anything like that, but they approached him. They probably said, get up out of my tent or get up under the pavilion aggressively. He probably was saying, yo, just take it easy. And they probably said, no, you take it easy, and grabbed his belongings. A scuffle ensued on the part of that white boy. They probably surrounded him. They probably actually had weapons. Like, yeah, you better watch out. And he said, oh, okay, you better watch out. And I believe that this was absolutely self-defense. I believe that his brother attacked him. And listen, I don't know the self-defense. I know Texas is stand your ground. I'm not saying that I would have done it, but keep your goddamn hands to yourself. And that's what happened here. You got a kid who, I'm white and I say so, and grab that kid, and that's what happened. And where are all the video footage? Where's the video footage, man? You mean to tell me all these kids didn't have no video footage? Stop it. Them police have video footage of this. There's video footage somewhere. That I know that
somebody pull out that camera phone.
So the fact of the matter is that these whites are trying to paint that kid, who's a good kid, by the way. They're like, okay, he's not employed. He doesn't have a father. That was proven to be wrong. The kid had 3 kids. The kid comes from a 2-parent household. I said, listen, if it's one thing about me, I'm going to be neutral. Now, when I kick in the backs of blacks, these hunkies love it. God damn it. But I'm telling you that's a good kid. Well,
right.
A good kid. It's just, that was a horrible thing that it was, man, it's real touchy about the whole stabbing thing. But the fact of the matter is that if Daniel Penny can choke out that black kid on the train just because he's approaching people, if the white boy, what's the white boy's name? If Kyle Rittenhouse can shoot 2 white boys for jumping on his back while he has an AR, then this boy, truth be told, should be held to the same standard. Hey, man, they were trying to attack me, man. I ain't know what to do. Hey, I'm 4 or 5 inches smaller than this kid, this white farm boy. I ain't know what to do. So no, let's be it equal, right? Let's be equal with it. And I don't care if my white fans or white people don't like what I'm saying, because it's the truth. Now I listen. When George Floyd was killed, George Floyd technically wasn't really resisting like that. And that white boy had his knee on that dude's neck for 8 minutes. And all I said was, listen, I could care less about George Floyd. Everybody applauded me. But now that I'm taking up for this black boy, now, of course you're going to take up for the black kid. No, it's not. I'm going by the same rules that you whites operate off of. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
Woo. I appreciate your chaotic truth. I think sometimes people just don't want to see. honesty for what it is a size difference. So that will go to the fact that the kid could have felt that his life was in danger. The young man, Austin's about 220 something pounds. He pushed him twice. He had his peoples with him. So it's grounds to say that he could have felt danger of his life, if that's what actually happened.
And then plus, if you think about it, if they are teammates and all that stuff, you know, all of them probably was surrounding him. Oh, dude probably was just the closest one that got it and the one that touched him. It's not like they were like trying to diffuse the situation. They probably was egging it on.
Yeah. And then I guess the real issue is going to be like, what kind of knife was it? Was it a legal knife? He did not get charged for no illegal possession of a weapon, right? So
because it has to be 5.5 inches longer. And when I was a kid, Sharon, I'm pretty sure when you were a kid and everybody else on the panel, we went to school with Swiss Army knives. Of course, I didn't get into any fights, but people were, I will admit, people were kind of honorable where I went to school. They just fought with their hands. You didn't bring it out, but people had Swiss Army knives all day, every day. So it's just like with these whites now. Oh, he had a knife. He had a knife. Well, I thought it was the Second goddamn amendment. I thought it was the Second Amendment. I thought you whites love the Second fucking. God damn it! I'm sorry, trying to use that.
Okay.
I thought you whites love the Second Amendment. Well, it was school grounds. It was school grounds. How do you know it was school grounds? How do you know that's not a multi-purpose public stadium? How do you know that? What facts or evidence do you have to substantiate your claim that was technically school grounds? What? Well, he had the knife. Well, why did he bring a knife to attract me? So what? I've gone into McDonald's and white boys have guns on them where I live at, which is open carry. So what? He had a knife. So what? He had a knife on him. Man, let me tell you something, man. I know a lot of people think I'm a coon and Uncle Tom. Nah, man, I'm a truth teller. And the fact is that, hey, man, if this white boy is in this damn supermarket with an AR-15 strapped to his back, hey, man, this is what the founders wanted. Well, why should he be here with that? Why should he be here in the grocery store with his? It's just mothers and their kids in here walking around buying eggs. Okay, I don't ask any questions. So the same thing about this kid. I don't ask any questions if he got a knife on him at the sporting event. For the same reason why white boys walk into grocery stores or McDonald's with guns on them and other groups of people, because this is an open. A lot of states are open carry, flat out.
Sharon, I sent that link for you in the back channel.
Hey,
That's
hold
the
on.
knife. It's only like one statement
here goes.
about the knife. It's only 3 inches.
Oh, the knife was how big was the knife?
3 inches. It was basically like a little pop-up knife. It was a little sling knife.
And this is in the hold on. I need to make this very clear.
It's in a separate. I couldn't find the other one, but it's a separate report that was done like a day or two later. But the person confirmed that the knife was a police officer confirmed that the knife in question was a sling knife, the one that you kind of flick and it pops open. It was 3 inches from tip to handle. It was a small knife, but 3 inches is more than enough to pierce somebody's heart.
Wow.
Now we got Gimpy in the chat. I'm a Hebrew and I say so. You see what he's trying to do with that super chat?
Let me see. Gimpy with the $5. Cause you called and asked CT live on air. It is school property.
I did call, but the lady wasn't exactly clear about that, right? So it is a public. It's a multi-purpose stadium, and it's a public stadium. So I don't know technically if there's a sporting event there from a school. Does it come or does it fall under the jurisdiction of the school district? I have no idea. All I'm saying is that you have two kids. I'm sorry, you have a group of kids versus one kid. The kid probably was in fear of his life. He probably assumed that he was in a situation where he couldn't fight, so he had to fight.
Nah, hold on, chaotic, bro.
Go ahead, sir.
That wasn't in the police. You just making an assumption now, but I gotta ask you something. Now, if a white kid push you, and you say, "Oh, push me again, see what happens," what will be your initial thought?
So if I was pushed by a white kid would I say push me again and see what help is next?
Yes.
I think that would just, to me, that's a defensive code for I'm going to really protect myself if you touch me again without my permission. So watch what happens. And I think that's what the boy was trying to convey. You're not letting me leave. You are surrounding me. You touched me once. I'm going to warn you. Do not touch me again or I will use force against you.
Now, do that cause you to get a knife?
Sure. Why not? My thing is that I thought they were. Wait a minute. Now, I'm not a fighter, but I've heard people say it ain't no rules to fighting. So if it ain't no rules to fighting, then hey, it don't matter. Hey, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I got a lot of ass whoopings coming from a lot of NBA players, man. I've talked the hell of shit about a lot of NBA. If LeBron's 6'9" ass came running after me, shit, I'm picking up every object in sight. You ain't about to. Oh hell no. You know Kwame Brown hates my guts. That nigga 7'1", Sharon. He hates me. And hey man, if he came charging at me, shoot, I'm picking up tree branches. If he happens to grab me, I'm scratching and biting. I'm fighting like a chick.
See, now that you said that, why didn't he fight with his hands or hit him in the balls or something? Right?
Because
ain't no rules in fighting, right?
Right.
So you're saying you're gonna take that fade?
Hold on. So it doesn't matter. Like you cannot put your own perspective on it and say, hey, I'm going to lose a fight. Like even Carol True said, he's more of, hey, I would have fought, I would have ran away. However, that doesn't have anything to do with what actually happened. The young man felt in danger of his life. He said, hey, stop bothering me. The man pushed him 2 times and he had a little pocket knife and he defended himself, especially if it's only a 3-inch knife. We cannot now say, oh, you should have. Like we could all Monday quarterback it and look at it at a grown person's eyelids, but we talking about 17-year-olds that is in the heat of battle, that are athletic people do not back down like that. So we got to understand what we're talking about, not trying to put some kind of grown mentality on a 17-year-old that lives in Texas where people say it all the time. You do, it's a certain way they live in Texas and Florida.
Step on my land, so I can put you down.
And also, it was a group of them. Y'all know they surrounded him. You know, they wasn't just standing by.
But it doesn't matter about that part. What we got to also understand that we talking about Texas of how they think there. It's not a place where like New York where you have to have fight and then you go get your gun. Damn near everybody have it on them.
Mm-hmm. You know, I understand New York got blades on them all the time.
We have concealed carry here also. But let me say something about what CT was saying. I think what he said bears a lot of truth. I will concede to that. I think what he said has a lot of truth. My only concern, and this goes to you, Sharon, I didn't get a chance to really comment on it. But when you had this discussion, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday about fatherhood, and you kind of put out there that women can raise a man, and then in the same breath today you said that if only these young men, or specifically if only Karmelo had conflict resolution skills, well, you can't get that unless you have a father in the home. My father was in the home, and he would repeatedly tell me, you're shaking your head, but I'm telling this because I lived this, and I can tell I have a special I guess a special insight on this because I had friends who were raised in a like-minded fashion, and I also had friends that were not, and I could see the difference in how their emotional comportment. That when things, the slightest things, they were screaming and yelling and doing things that to me, I wouldn't say that qualifies as gay. I would never say that, but it qualifies as being emotional and feminine and not being able to root in those qualities. So when you try to minimize the importance of the black patriarch, you get someone who can't control himself. That's important. My father repeatedly, sometimes even to this day, tells me you need to do X, Y, and Z. Black young men specifically, and I'm saying this to the listening audience, black males specifically have to be taught how to think through things. We have, especially being black males. We can theorize and hope this black young man gets a fair shake in Texas, right? But he should have been given the skills to outthink this white boy. Matter of fact, I have a set of friends that we laugh, and we to this day we talk about how we have been able to outwit certain white people in certain situations. That's the kind of conversation that black people, black males need to be having. That it's almost a game you can play on how to outwit. I would not have had that white boy outwit me where now I'm in the clink and I got to figure out something. If I'm going to stab this guy, I'm going to make sure I'm 100% verified in doing it. Now we got to hope and pray that under the white man's leadership that he's going to give you a fair shake. I haven't seen that yet. We got to stop playing this game. I land a plane here. You clown people who talk about this nerd thing, but I am a thinking black man, and the consistent need to make fun of thinking black people is why many of our Negroes are in the bad shit we're in now. We got to stop clowning the idea of thinking, and especially outthinking these loose, wild white people. That's it.
Okay. And I want to just say that with the emotional intelligence part or emotional thinking, learning how to deal with your emotions, that's not a skill that only a male could teach to another male. Anybody could teach another human being how to have emotional regulation. I don't think that is just a male to male situation. ADS, you want to chime in on this part of the conversation? We get ADS in there. We get Ra in there as well after ADS, and then we just open it back up and everybody could just jump right back in. Go ahead, ADS, then Ra.
Brothers, those two coons at the top, I need them to STFU, please, this morning. I've been jumped 3 times, brother. One time been hit in the head with a bat several times fighting a dude, right? Used only my hands, victorious in battle, but injured still the same, almost near death with the bat. I mean, I remember that my head was bleeding for a minute, man. They took me to the hospital, right? Even though I beat the dude, my blood's still everywhere. I hate to say it like this out loud, but I commend that young man. You know, people have no fear nowadays of consequence. They don't. That's why all this bad behavior, this racism, this other stuff is running rampant, because there's no consequence to it. People think they can get away with it. And so this young man has finally set a bar here, right, of this, what could happen to you. Nothing happened to Kyle Rittenhouse, did it? He went to court, got away with it. Zimmerman went to court, got away with it. You know, before you start to say, oh, black men need to do this and do that in these circumstances, I had a father and a mother my whole life. It didn't stop people from jumping me. It didn't stop people from hitting me in the head with bats. You know, I think, you know what I'm saying, we need to support this young man 1,000% in this particular circumstance and case, especially if his brother was out there too. He's getting jumped. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, it was 2-on-1. He defended himself, and this was the outcome of that defense. Now, we do pray for the young man who lost his life and his family. They will heal their hearts. But we also pray for America that they will learn a lesson. Let's just be real. You got kids out there in California wearing the word nigger across T-shirts. Oklahoma wearing nigger across T-shirts. And these are Latin people. I
saw that shit.
There needs to be some level and line for respect and boundaries. And I hope this sets one for those people who actually think that they can get away with this type of behavior.
Thank you for that ADS. That was really good.
Sure.
And yeah, go ahead, Kat, before we get Ryan in. Go ahead, Kat.
Oh, sorry. I'll wait till Ryan gets done. Sorry. If he didn't go.
Yeah, Ryan, you want to jump in? Go ahead, Ryan.
Ron, what's up? What's up, CT?
Oh, what's up, Ben?
Check it out. All right, check it out. It's like this, man. You know, I don't know what these other people are talking about, but I was raised all my life until I went into the military by 2 parents. My mother and my father, they were married for almost 70 years, man. And I'm going to tell you something. In the military, they put you in scenarios where there's a fight or flight situation. And what they do is put you in these different battle scenarios or combat or communication scenarios where either you're going to take flight or you're going to fight. So all this about 2-parent households and all this, I don't know where these people, I don't know that people don't understand how much the world has changed, not even just within the military, but just on the public streets, man. See, so I believe the young man defending himself, he didn't know the outcome of the situation, but this happens on a daily basis. Like I said, I've been stabbed twice, and I know the feeling of it, and I know that if I had not reacted physically, I may have been the person not to walk away from the situation. No one was life was taken, but they knew that they were in a fight. That's all I got to say.
Perfect. And also, I want to say with this whole, we also understand that this is a rhetoric that's been going on for a long time. You touch me, you want to F around and find out, right? This is not something new. A lot of men say this. So the idea that just because you have fathers in the home, they're going to teach their sons not to whoop some ass is a lie. We all know you get into a fight, you better put your hands back on that person. You better come back home. You better do this. So we understand that it's been a rhetoric for a very long time. Is that you come home, we don't care about the other person. So this idea that just because a father is teaching them things, we got to make sure we careful about how we, describing that emotional regulation. Anybody can teach you that. I want to, Chaotic Truth wanted to jump in, and I want you to respond to be Afro Nerd. But go ahead, Chaotic Truth, and then Afro Nerd.
Sharon, I never really watched Real Housewives, but there was a guy named Peter. Dark skinned guy's a Jamaican guy, right? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Okay, his name is Peter Thomas. Yep. You said you do know?
Now, Chaotic Truth, I do question why are you watching?
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, it's kind of like asking people, what's your favorite Beyonce album? Excuse me. I've only watched it because I was with a friend of mine. She's always watching. I caught glimpses of it. But Peter Thomas is a black guy, very well to do. And he was at a radio station. And there was another guy from the show who was dating one of the women. But anyway, the guy was about 6'4", big ass black dude. And Peter's like a smaller black guy, real small, thin, older guy, maybe about 5'7", 5'8". But the guy was mad at Peter about something. And, Peter was sitting away from the door. The guy was sitting by the door. So the guy got up. And Peter immediately went into his pocket and grabbed, I thought it was with a knife, but Peter didn't really use a knife. He just grabbed the guy and somehow got the guy in a move that the guy couldn't really get out of. Right now, the smaller guy. But I was thinking, man, had Peter diced him up a little bit, I think he would have probably been in the right because he couldn't get out the door. Man, the guy was, in my opinion, man, we gotta see the video footage of this, man, because I'm almost certain this kid reacted in a way where he probably felt as though there was no escapes, man. But I'm telling you this, Sharon, man, what you're doing is great, man. Be vigilant about this topic because this is going to be a major topic, man. I'm going to do I'm going to do several videos on this, man. The more information that comes out, man, because I totally agree, man. Ain't no rules to fighting. If you surround someone, hey, man, people. Hey, I knew a guy in my city. He was a friend of my friend, or he was at a bar in downtown Cleveland, and some jealous dudes over a female, two dudes tried to jump him, and he ran, and one of the guys hit him, and he hit his head on the curb and shit, and died. There's been so many cases where you can get jumped and you can die from an injury. You could fall the wrong way or whatever. So, hey, man, this is a tricky one here, man. This is an absolutely tricky one. Yeah. Rahotep, real quick, when you got stabbed, did you cry? Go ahead, sir.
No, I was a grown man. I wanted to, but I was a grown man. But okay. in that heat of your adrenaline is so high, it stung more than hurt. It hurt. I had more pain after I went to the doctor to get a few little sutures and have it packed with this betadine strip to keep any infection down. And I had to get a tetanus shot. But the thing it hurt like hell. But in the moment, I had to throw everything that I could. I couldn't use no critical thinking and intellectual, emotional control because I come up in LA, man, Compton, man. Them niggas don't listen to no. Hey, man,
hey, bro, you gotta fix your microphone. You have a little feedback. I don't know. Maybe you outside. Maybe that's the wind.
Sharon, the charges of murder need to definitely. Oh. You can't say
that is a really problem with Texas. They definition of the murder is a problem. Seriously,
It needs to be dropped. I would say to maybe manslaughter, right? And
the max is manslaughter.
Yeah, I really believe it needs to be dropped. But this kid,
to say that it's murder is insane.
Yeah,
CJ, you want to say something? I want to get Afroner and I want to also get AR back in there. CJ, you want to jump in? Go ahead.
Man, at the end of the day, I kind of agree. I think he felt like he was more so backed in the corner, and instead of just simply crashing out instantly, he definitely gave 2 verbal warnings. The first one was done after already being physically assaulted.
Damn.
By the time they got into what would technically be considered the third scuffle, that was the one leading into him ultimately stabbing Austin. If a person gives you warnings like that and even like holds out a bag as if like there's a potential threat within this bag, you would think that somebody would back down or fall back. And more so over, again, the adults were there. These kids were both 17. I saw a question in the chat about the weight class, just in case nobody didn't know. Karmelo is 5'9", 130 pounds soaking wet. And Austin is 6'1", 225. Obviously, the weight class for Karmelo was done at the police report, and for Austin, it was done in February because he is on the football team. Either way, I feel like for him to proceed to pursue, for Austin to pursue Karmelo the way he did physically, even after being verbally addressed that way, it's more so like a bullying method or bullying mindset. Because if you're going to do that, you only did it because you sized him up and acknowledged that you are the bigger person, and it also means that I'm not gonna say he deserved what he got, but you were basically poking at a rat that potentially had a gun.
Ooh.
So it's crazy that you were willing to do that. Just because he was small doesn't mean he can't harm you. And I guess in his mind, he can't do nothing to me. I'm 6'1". I'm athletic. You know, they're both actually football players, but it's crazy that you was willing to pursue him like that. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, you know, we lost a life, but I think the bigger message needs to be that people need to be more, need to pay more attention to kids when they get like that. I mean, yeah, they're 17 years old, but at the end of the day, those adults should definitely shut that down a long time ago.
Before you go and we pass the mic, how would you consider it bullying?
I would consider it bullying. 1, weight classes. 2, he literally, instead of like going back and forth fighting, he Austin, because I want to make sure I say the name so we don't get confused. Austin, after telling him verbally that he needs to leave, he then proceeded to touch him or push him, because the first attempt was a push. The second one was more of a punch and grab. But in between both those assaults, there was a verbal warning. So if you were being verbally warned and then you proceed to do it again, and then by the time the third scuffle happened, which led outside the tent, which resulted in being stabbed. So it means you were being physical with them even after being warned verbally. It wasn't like he's being verbal, you being verbal, and then he swung. He's like basically just said, I'm just gonna go at it. That didn't happen. Austin continued to be more of the bully on him. You see what I'm saying?
I like that. Also, chaotic truth, would you consider it bullying, and how?
Yes, I have to agree with the gentleman. There's a size difference. There's a weight difference. There's an intimidation difference. I mean, even if the one guy was just talking, you got 5 people around him that are. It poses. It's an intimidation factor at that exact moment. That was a situation of bullying to a degree. You know, a shakedown, if you will. It's a shakedown. The fact of the matter is also is the property rights. You know, yeah. I mean, listen. When I went to college, man, and even after college, man, I go to events and people have tents, and you know, sometimes you may, you know, if nobody's there, you will sit under it. Is it technically trespassing if you have a Imperious with a $2 super chat? This is why you practice the Mozambique drill. So it's a lot of things here. I'm not an attorney, right? But when I first covered the story, they were like, "Oh, it's their tech. It's the tech. What about the tech?" Well, I mean, technically, have we all broken the law there? Because when we go to festivals, we may walk under a tent, or we may there may be an empty tent. We may get under for shade, and it's not even like a tent, like a TP type tent when you go inside. This is an open, almost like a not canopy, but pavilion, like the tiny, you know, and so it's like it's on the stand. So yeah, is it you just what's the word I'm looking for? Is it the right thing to do? Maybe the kid was exhausted. Maybe he was taking a break. You know, who really knows exactly what was? Maybe were there any labels on the tent? Because the other tents had the school's names, but I didn't see any names on that tent. You have to really ask questions here. The fact that they're trying to portray this kid as a thug and a criminal outright, it really bothers me.
That bothers me as well.
That really bothers me. The fact that he's a thug, he's a criminal. Oh, guess who it is? No.
And look, when we finally get somebody that's doing the right things, we got to defend that thing.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. I see. That's one thing about me, Sharon. I will defend somebody who's doing something right. Like when I did a show about Sonya Massey. I said that white boy went up in there with the intent to create some sort of event. He didn't have to tell her to cut that damn stove off. That woman wasn't throwing no goddamn water on him. You remember Sonya Massey, right, Sharon? Yeah, no, like when something's right, it's right, whether it's black, white, whatever, man. So the thing of the matter is that I don't give a goddamn how many whites or even blacks that are mad at me for saying that. We have to ask 1,001 questions here. That kid didn't go to that damn stadium with the intent to delete anybody. Let's be honest about it. What about the knife, Chaotic? What about the knife, Mr. and Mrs. I love the Constitution and the Second Amendment? Go ahead, guys.
Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the best arguments right there. That like I thought we had the, you know, like he said he had a pocket knife 3 inches long. We cannot say that it's some kind of deadly situation. Yes, he used that thing and he turned it into a weapon, but we cannot say that he was walking around with a pocket knife saying, "Hey, yeah, I know I could definitely kill somebody with this little 3-inch pocket knife." What's up, LA Wilkes, the thin black line? Shout out to you. Good day to you, sir. I think CJ wanted to say, and CJ, I just put you on mute because you have a feedback when you off of mute. Guys, CJ, we're gonna get Afro Nerve. I want to know what's Afro Nerve thought after CJ. Do you believe it was bullying? And before we go to CJ, Gimpy with the $5. Sharon, the only reason you letting this musty CT talk is because you agree with him respectfully. That is not true. Plenty of times Chaotic came here and I did disagree and he still was able to speak. So that is a false narrative. Whether me and CT agree or disagree, I still allow him to get his full thought out as much as I possibly can. Other people, they probably don't let him get his full thought out. But me personally, I let him get his goddamn full thought out.
You know, I want to say that too, Sharon. I am very proud of Chaotic Truth today. You know, we normally get Chaotic Tether, but today we do get the Chaotic Truth. And we are grateful for that. Thank you.
Tether is crazy.
That is very true. I agree with that as well. Like, and it is okay for us to agree once in a while. Hey, we agree on something. I don't see nothing wrong with it. Go ahead, CJ. Go ahead, get your point out when you finish. Just mute yourself when you can.
Yeah, because I'm about to leave in a minute. I just want to also point out, like you even said, there was no way that him coming to that event that he had planned on stabbing anybody. One, it was a 3-inch knife, not a 30-round switch. You know, he had no plans on doing that. If you read, I think it's the 4th report where one of the people that was actually running with him, the reason why he was even underneath the tent is because it was raining cats and dogs. They state in more than one report that it was bad weather. So they were actually running underneath the tent. He didn't just pop up there. He ran underneath the tent with 2 other people who actually belonged to the tent. He obviously did not. But at the end of the day, it's bad weather. He just went there because of the weather. That's the only reason why he was there. He wasn't there to cause problems. It just, if anything, the person that instigated the issue was Austin, because if the coaches said nothing about it, they didn't make a big deal about it. But they should have said something about the verbal altercation that they were having. Last thing before I leave, after he stabbed him, it does show that in one report, that he ran away. Technically, he only ran down the bleachers to the track area, like basically the little area where you run at the gravel, and he laid down. There's more than one more report by a cop that says that he was crying. So it means that he wasn't even some YNs that crash out, they don't care what they did.
Nope.
He was upset that it went down that way. And then the report of the officer that actually arrested him and put him in the car, they said that he was in the car asking if Austin was okay. He was asking about him. So that shows that he was not happy about nothing that went down. He wasn't in a good mood. He wasn't like, yeah, I did that. There was no joy there. So he's a good kid. If you go check his Instagram, because I wouldn't check the Instagram, that's a good kid. He's no YN crash out kid. So I think people need to stop creating this narrative that he was like this roughhouser all because he's a young black dude with some dreads. He was actually a pretty smart, chill kid. So I'm gonna land my plane there. Sharon, appreciate you letting me on the panel. Much love to the whole entire panel and everybody up here. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you so much. And that was some great information that you brought up. L.A. Wills, the Thin Black Man 499. Thanks for showing up yesterday. You didn't have to, but you did. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you as well. And I was cursing your ass out earlier too, by the way, L.A. Wilkes. Afro Nerd, do you believe?
Thank you for having me up, brother. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, ADS. I appreciate you. Afro Nerd, before we get to AR, thank you for your patience, AR. Do you believe it was bullying and why?
I don't know. I can't answer something that I'm not comfortable with more information. I think it's still early. I told you from the beginning, I would like to think that is the case for this young brother. I would like for that to be the case, right? If it lines up, I think if there's any sense of that, his defense should be able to really provide a strong fact pattern, and we'll see if it works in Texas, right? But I also my whole thing is, and with Black culture, Black people, your viewership, your listenership, I want to see consistent thinking, because many years ago, I'm going to go back to your New York DNA, right? You remember a person by the name of Bernard Getz. You remember that name? What CT, I give credit where credit is due. What he so masterfully put out there was essentially the Bernard Getz story. Bernard Getz was, in a way, he was bullied on the subway trains, what his routine was, like being a diminutive white Jewish man. And when he saw, 4 or 5 towering Black males,
got the blasting on him. Yep.
He pulled out that, shout out to Corey Holcomb, that goddamn it. He pulled out the burner, and he decided to do what he had to do. Now, at the time, I was younger, too young to fully understand, but I understood this much, that, wow, that subway system is crazy. We're going back to these times now, by the way. And I could visually see why and what he did. But Sharpton was coming up at that time, and there was a large contingent of the Black community that refused to understand that this man felt threatened, and he had the right, based on his assertion of the threat, to do what he had to do. Now, now if the defense can present something like that, because this is also kind of sort of with Chris Rock and Will Smith. Will Smith towers over Chris Rock, slapped him in front of a global audience. Now, many Black folks co-signed on this man slapping this shorter comedian, right? I met Chris Rock one time. Chris Rock is, he's not that short, but he is shorter, right? So we gotta have that. We gotta have that same energy. And I just gotta say the last thing, Sharon, I'm gonna have to, keep consistent with you. I respect your thoughts on honoring your mama, right? We all love our mothers, right? I lost my mother a few years ago, still very painful, right? And actually, I was able to appreciate in her passing what she did to contribute to my psyche. But my father is still with me, right? And I have to be very consistent. This need to diminish Black patriarchs. And then, there's testosterone, there's aggression, there's combat. And I remember when I was a kid, if I was outside and got into a scrap, my father was there to say, hey, fight him fair, right? He was there to actually say, fight. He wasn't doing some soft stuff with me, right? I had to deal with the battle, right? So that's not really within the purview of the woman. The woman's not really for that. She has other qualities that have to be respected. If you remember, this is what they do with the Black community. You have Hallmark cards that say to the mother that Happy Father's Day, Mom, with a Black face on it. I'm not going to allow you, respectfully, to diminish this Black man thing when we got that going on, constantly putting us in the position of the feminine. I'm not doing the feminine. I'm not doing that. You have to uphold the Black father so that we can help the future Karmelo Anthonys. Because we're going to be back here. Watch out, CT, again. We're going to be back here again. Let's stop this.
All right. Welcome to the show. I got you. Yeah, you sound a little bit better, Rod. Let me welcome into the show AR, and then we're going to get Skeez is yours right after AR. Welcome both of them into the show. What's your thoughts, AR? Do you believe, I wanted to actually start it off with a question, and you can give me your thought. Do you believe there was bullying? What happened to this young man?
No, not at all. Yeah, okay. No.
And why?
To me, I would bullying would be a bully initiating something, or there'd be a repetitive behavior, a consistent behavior in that way. From what I read, dude was under a tent that he shouldn't have been under, that he knew he shouldn't have been under. Other dude told him to leave. This isn't your tent. And he said, make me or touch me and see what happens. And then it escalated from there. I'm not sure if CT has turned a new leaf. I don't know if his dear leaders tariffs or something are making him lose money. And so he's, turned a new leaf or whatnot. It's weird hearing him say this because I definitely thought he would have been on the side of, civility or something. I'm not sure. It seems like there's a problem in the Black community of making martyrs out of people in questionable situations, or criminals, outright criminals. And I think this is another situation. I mean, we saw with Michael Brown. Someone brought up, I think he left already. Someone brought up Trayvon Martin, as if that wasn't also a questionable situation. It just seems like they're not bringing up. CT brought up I don't remember the lady's name, but the older lady's name, where that cop went in and murdered her. Perfect example of somebody that should be made into a martyr. This kid went to school with a knife, supposedly on a roll 3.7 GPA, whatever student, went into a school event with a knife. So he was already in the wrong going into a school event with a knife. He has a 3.7 GPA, so most likely he's not into gangs or anything like that. He probably doesn't. I need to look up the school. I don't know what the school is like, but it doesn't sound like he's hanging around the wrong crowd based off of his GPA and based off of what his father said. He went to that school event, went to the other side of the field or the other tent that's not his own schools, knew that wasn't his own schools, was told, hey, you need to leave. Then, instead of just getting up and leaving because he wasn't supposed to be there, told the kid to make him. And then the kid grabs him and he takes out a knife and stabs him. Now, someone can say, oh, he didn't go there with a Glock and a switch. He wasn't planning on, Swiss cheesing anybody. No, but it's obvious that he felt emboldened.
Just slap the taste out of your mouth. I'd like to see it.
Hey.
Hold on. The new Coastal Empire. See you later, AR. Damn. The next one that's supposed to be up is Skeez. It's yours.
I would like to respond.
You want to? All right, before you go, Mr. Lyman, let can I get a chance to respond to AR? Skeez is yours. You right after, and I want you to answer the bully question. Do you believe it was bullying? Go ahead, Chaotic Truth.
Random. I rock with Random. He's a good guy. He doesn't understand the world. The reason why he's shocked at me is the reason why a lot of the whites are shocked at me. You see, I go in on the degeneracy of blacks that you can actually see. Rodney King was speeding. He was posing a danger to the public. So, of course, I'm going to make a video saying Rodney King should have gotten his ass whooped. Of course I am. Of course, I'm going to make a video on maybe the blacks shouldn't have rioted and destroyed LA for a week or two, however long the riots were. Maybe they shouldn't have done that because they destroyed essentially their own communities. Maybe they shouldn't have done that. That was pretty stupid. But see, the thing about what Random is saying is this. Random is not using the white man's arguments against the white man. And I'm going to say it for the third time today. These are the same whites that they uphold the Second Amendment like it's the gospel. All of a sudden, there's, it's school grounds. What are you talking about? Your grandfathers used to go to gun shooting clubs in schools. What are you talking about? They literally had guns in school. Back in the day, they had gun training classes. What are you talking about, white people? The fact of the matter is that I'm going to take up for what's right. The kid was not, in my opinion, there to intimidate anyone, et cetera, et cetera. Because again, I said it earlier, Sharon, I'm a man of a certain age. I went to school with switchblades. It was something cool to do. Oh, my switchblade better than your switchblade. Where you get your switchblade from? Swiss Army knives or whatever. The teachers knew we had them, and they didn't. Look, as long as you didn't really bring them out in class and flaunt them, and you can have them. So what? The fact of the matter is, again, this kid is a good kid, and what Random doesn't understand is Twitter is dogging this kid with these racist whites who are putting him in the same category as a YN, wherever these people, what they call them, young nigga, I don't know what they call them.
Yeah, that's
the problem here. The problem is that in our race, we generally have good people on average. The problem is that the media overhypes every goddamn thing and makes every black look like a damn criminal. Now that is true, but the fact is that he was a good kid, and what Random doesn't understand is a lot of blacks are gonna rock for him. There's gonna be a civil war here, Sharon. Conservative blacks, liberal blacks on the fence. It's gonna be a civil war here because you got me. I kind of want to go out to Texas and help with his get out of jail campaign. It's gonna be a lot of fights here, man. I might lose some supporters and have some enemies for this one. But the fact is that you are correct, and Afro Nerd is correct. I forgot the guy's name again, but that white guy felt threatened, and he popped 3 of those black boys, and whites cheered it. They cheered it. Oh, he should have done that. They cheered it. And again, hey, okay, fair enough, Random. Fair enough, Random. So let's use the same argument here. He felt threatened. He felt, and maybe, and again, we don't have any footage here. Yeah. So he felt threatened. And here goes the thing. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up cases where knives were used in self-defense. Now, I did view, Sharon. They're mostly domestic abuse cases. Women being let go because they felt like, okay, well, she stabbed her husband because of abuse. But I want to really look into this and see if I can find cases where self-defense was used, where a knife was used in a self-defense case in a fight, because boy should not do decades in prison. Now, to a degree to satisfy the public, maybe go to jail for a couple of, maybe 2 years in prison. I don't know. And I really don't even think the kid should go to prison, to be honest with you.
I don't think so neither.
But you can clearly see that white boy came from a dysfunctional family. Because let's be honest, they said the black boy came from a single parent household. That white boy came from a dysfunctional family. Even in the interview, the mother messed up and the boy had to correct his mother. The mother and the father set up 2 separate GoFundMes. So you can clearly see, hey, look, man, a lot of these, the same white people will make the argument, well, black dysfunctionality comes from the black household being dysfunctional. Okay, all right, let's go about the argument. So with that same very argument, you can say the same thing about this white family. These boys probably were in a dysfunctional household. They're mad at their father because his brother seems to be with the mother more than the father. And so they have anger issues and all types of issues too. Same thing with you, same argument that you would give to these black boys. So, hey man, if it's all fair, let's all be fair, right? Let's be fair.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. And welcome to the show. Good day, Supreme Goddess PhD.
Good day.
We're good, Pete.
Hey, y'all. I was actually coming to respond to what a Random Independent said.
Correct.
Because he started out by saying that, the black community, we have a habit of making martyrs out of criminals. And I'm just wondering if his mama never told him that literally every hero they have, every statue, every monument they have up in this country is a fucking criminal. So they stay martyring and idolizing criminals. So, sir, I'm gonna need you to go back to your mama and get the history lessons that she clearly wasn't telling you, or maybe go to your Negro grandmama and she can put it in perspective for you. Then I was wondering what the hell Trayvon did, right? He was just walking home minding his business. with regard to the Carmelo Anthony young man, he was in Texas. Texas is a place where they hunt, very outdoorsy. It's the country. So people walking around with pocket knives isn't an anomaly, right? It's not something that's out of the ordinary. I would say most people walking around got a pocket knife. But the idea that, it wasn't his tent, he shouldn't have been there. Like, it's a track meet. Anybody ever been to a track meet? If you have friends from another school, you're going to be up under that tent too, talking to them, chit-chatting, yakking it up. They're going to come to yours, especially if it was raining, right? You're going to run under the first tent that was there. Now, somebody else coming and saying, hey, you aren't supposed to be here. They can say whatever they want. That's fine. But when we escalate to putting hands on people, and so that's one thing that we don't talk enough about, how many whites feel entitled to put their hands on Black people, whether it's walking up and just touching our hair without asking, right? Walking up and touching whatever on us, or we've seen plenty of videos of Black people filming some white person wilding out and they'll come slap the phone up out their hand, right? Or just yesterday, I was at a hospital and parking in the wrong place, but so what? They told me to, the security did. And an old ass white man came up there asking me to move my car. And when I get ready to walk around his ass, he grabbed my arm. So are you telling me I shouldn't have two-pieced and tried to take that cracker head off? Right? And so Black people have a right to defend ourselves. White people aren't the law. They don't get to just, make up arbitrary rules for people and then we are bound to abide by them. That's crazy. Y'all really got to start taking these people off the pedestal because they're not what y'all think they are.
I like it. It was before you go, Ra, it was Skis is yours. Let me see if he's ready to speak. Your microphone, guys, Skis. Okay, he got to get his microphone together. As he get his microphone together, welcome to the show, Auntie.
Yo, what up, man?
I've got a question before you give me your thought. I want to know: do you believe it's bullying and why?
Just based on what I'm seeing there, of course it's bullying. Really, the boys behind enemy lines, like you behind enemy lines. That's kind of what happens. You wearing the opposing team's colors. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of. I mean, it's standard because it's school versus school type thing. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's standard. Bullying. Does somebody usually die in situations like that? Of course not. But yeah, of course, that's what I believe. I did based on what you saw. Yeah, it was bullying. It was on some mover or we gonna move you type shit, which is what happened. So I mean, I agree with what PhD Diva said, but to an extent, I don't think this should be like a Black versus white thing. Kids do this. You know what I'm saying? Kids do this. You know what I'm saying? Kids get into physical altercations all the time. Let's think about it. When we all got into more fights when we was kids than we did as adults. Because people put their hands on people. You know what I'm saying? Kids do that. That's why we got to tell our kids, keep your hands to yourselves. And kids still don't abide by that. Like they just do that. He just didn't know old boy was gonna pull out a knife and stab him in the chest and end, you know what I'm saying, end it. So it's definitely tragic. I just don't like the way everybody's trying to racialize, politicize, and all of that other stuff with it. It's a self-defense thing. It's a self-defense thing. Whether it is actual self-defense, whether the court's gonna decide it, I don't know. But he clearly has a case for it. Clearly a case. I don't see why we're not arguing more or at least discussing the bond, bro. $1 million bond. Like that's the unconstitutional part. I believe like $1 million, bro.
Whew. It's insane. That's insane.
That's what I'm saying. You telling me if the family is rich, boom, he's out. Like you can commit the same crime, but you don't have to sit in jail. But because you're not a millionaire, you know what I'm saying? You don't have $1 million in assets that you can surety bond up for. Boom, you got to sit in a cage. I'm like, that's the part I want to talk about, bro. I'm like, come on, bro, $1 million, bro. Come on.
It's a lot. Thank you for that. Want to also, I'm not sure, Skis is yours if your microphone is good. Okay, there we go. All right. So right after Skis is yours, I want you to answer the question as well. Do you believe it's bullying? Why or why not? and then we bring in Otis right after, and then we could just get it right back to opening. Everybody got their words out, and then we just get it right back open, having an open discussion. Guys, keys is yours. Then Otis who?
All right, I'm good. My mic good?
Yeah, you good. You get sound.
All right,
really
so when we say bullying, I would say it's bullying, but it's more so of an entitlement thing. He tried to intimidate the boy. He was outnumbered from the jump. You see what I'm saying? If we all talk about self-awareness, situational awareness, and all that is cool. But at some point, that young boy, he felt like he had to defend himself. When y'all talking about not only was they verbal, you lay hands on a man. I don't care if he hit him in the face with his book bag, or he pulled out a book, or he had a glass bottle and he pulled out his knife. He used it. So what? He did what he felt in the moment to survive and get himself out of that group that he was in that could have beat him to a bloody pulp. So we only focus on what he did to defend himself. But what happened if they would have beat that boy to a bloody pulp, paralyzed him? Then what y'all have been saying? Oh, they ain't have to do that to him. They ain't have to do this. Well, before we did that, he did what he did. Now, unfortunately, the situation transpired to where he at. And if it's the right juror, if they actually had the right juror in there, and as they split it up and they don't make it the majority fucking white, then he do got a fucking chance of getting out of this. But if they don't make it fair, then he is gonna lose this. But with all the money I see that he got raised right now, he gonna have a great lawyer. That boy got like 4 or 5 GoFundMe's up for black people supporting him. So if white people can support their people, it's sad that we gotta say it. This is a race thing.
But hold up, Skis, real quick before somebody else goes. He gonna have to spend most of that money just to bond out.
I understand that, Auntie, but at the end of the day, if he's smart, because that money gonna dry up.
Save it for the lawyers. That's what I was saying. I was like, you might want to spend it.
Save it for the lawyer, because that money will dry up. But right now, is moving fast. He on a good pay. I'll just sit. But at the end of the day, oh, that's either man. But at the end of the day, my only disagreement with what transpired was, it kind of was when we look at it, he made a conscious decision to pull the knife out, so they can say that it's premeditated. Because if it wasn't, he would have just started swinging. Like when you not really think, you just start swinging. Okay, I'm mad, but you had to go in your pocket or go in your book bag or whatever to get the knife and pull it out. That's where we get a little tricky at, because they're going to dissect the shit out of this case.
That's crazy to say that.
I'm just glad that we standing up as blacks for once. It's fucked up that it got to be this damn situation for us to want to side with one another. But this may be what we needed. Sadly, I hate it had to be the young bull, but I digress. Y'all got it.
Yeah, I think it's crazy to bring up the word premeditated. That's crazy. Otis Who Podcast, welcome to the show. Then after Otis Who, we have E the Man, and then we can get it right back open again. Go ahead, Otis Who. What's your thought?
Hey, what's going on? Peace to the panel and the chat. I agree with I started off agreeing with what Chaotic Truth was saying and everything, but for the record, I didn't hear all the facts. And before AR got booted off, which was funny as hell, he did bring another side to it, which still doesn't change the facts at all, but there's always two sides to the story. I didn't know that he was on the opposing side for us, the other team, going into somebody else's tent. But like Auntie said, that's high school stuff. That's teenage stuff. We all did that in high school. I ran track. There's tents up everywhere. Trust me, I get it. I don't believe it's a racial thing. Unfortunately, it could be easily turned into a racial thing, and it's going to be, but I don't think it's a racial thing. I believe it was a bullying situation. Yes, it doesn't matter who started off being wrong. He was a typical teenager going on the other side, being a typical teenager. We all been there. And he didn't know he was going up against. He went up against an opposing team who stood their quote unquote ground as being kids. That's what happens. Going to opposing high school. It happens. Unfortunately, someone lost their life. That is extreme. All kids, including myself, we had to learn how to navigate fights, how to stay out of a fight. We were all brought up, mothers and fathers. It doesn't matter if you have a 2-parent household. Don't get your ass beat. If you don't fight, I'm going to make you go back outside and you're going to fight. All was brought up like that. We were never taught to look at the situation. It's okay to walk away. Your first opportunity, walk away. We're not taught that. Let's keep it real. We need to be taught that, but we're not. But I'll
Yeah, Otis, yeah.
Hold on, Edie Man. Because AR had got kicked earlier. I want to give a chance because he probably ain't gonna last too long with the nonsense he's saying today. But hey, y'all, welcome back to the show. You could talk to us what Otis said, or you could try to reiterate your point. Go ahead, AR.
Cool ass nigga.
You're just trying to get me kicked
Slap
again,
the
man.
taste out of your mouth. I'd like to see it.
Damn, at least
It says, boo AR, no airtime today. So you're gonna have to fight back. I don't know.
Yeah.
On your peoples that's on the other side, they're gonna have to fight back for you. I'm not sure if they willing to fight for you. We're gonna see. Marcus Antonio can say with the $2. I told Sharon, CNN and BLM gonna make it a race. Get the f out of here.
Yeah, like I don't know what Otis talking about finding ways to walk away. One thing about a bully, if you walk away from a bully, he's gonna antagonize you for the rest of that year. This idea that you're just supposed to walk away, no, you gotta stand your grounds. And you know the problem with
Hold
the
on,
internet.
Edelman. So
Hold
you
on.
hold on before we go back for us. So Edelman, you saying that you believe? I want to know before you keep going with the thought. Do you believe it was bullying and why?
Yeah, I believe that it was bullying. I think this black young man was protecting himself. I think he was willing to escalate the situation. I definitely think that it was more to the situation than just two people having an altercation. Based on what I'm seeing, it sounded like members was not in the black dude odds. So it was multiple people. So I think it was a level of bullying. It was a level of bullying, and he just handled it with a very vicious way that we might not agree with.
Okay.
And real quick, I just want to add something there. With now Texas, with they stand your ground rules, those jurors are not even able to take like fleeing or walking away as a possibility.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? Like that's I check that out when it comes to the laws in Texas. Like
What
they're
you
not
mean?
even okay. So when you're trying to decide whether this was like premeditated deletion or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And you're trying to use stand your ground, and because it's a stand your ground state, they're not even able to take that into consideration that you could have fled.
Yep, that is
Really?
true.
They're
So,
not, the jury and the prosecution can't even make that case that he could have that was one of his options was just walking away. They're not even allowed to make that case.
That changes the whole.
yeah, they cannot make that state. But this is the problem with the
Great.
internet,
Thank you,
right?
Auntie.
Because I heard a lot of people just talking about how this black guy was wrong. The problem with the internet is we all watch Friday, right? And imagine if they only took the part with when Craig hit Debo in the head. We didn't get none of the backstory. We only got just that little bitty speak when Craig hit Debo in the head. And say Debo ain't had one of the hard heads. Debo fall over and hit the curb and killed him. We would have been saying Craig is wrong. Craig is the attacker. Craig is all these different things. It's because we only took that little bit of piece. We didn't take all of the information. So no, check this out. Especially if you're defending yourself, sometimes it's gonna go to extreme measures. You might get chopped up a little bit. So I think that we should be saying free this black man. Free him. Let him out. Because the crazy point is we always say, oh, you should diffuse the situation. He shouldn't even been in the situation. These white boys shouldn't even been in that situation in the first place. And it was racist. Let me land it right.
Sure wrong. I'll tell you, chaotic still there. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. People keep saying media making race. I mean, if you don't understand racism, white supremacy, everything you do understand about racism, white supremacy will only confuse you. So I'm a student and was mentored by the great late Dr. Neely Fuller. So I'm gonna say this: in Texas, I was born in Texas. They teach you to stand your ground before making a critical decision about fleeing and getting yourself out of the situation. The stand your ground concept comes from it is your duty as a Texan to stand your ground, not put your gun down and have a discussion. I see that you don't have a gun, so you're not a threat. Let me put my gun up and let's talk. That's not where Texas is. And second of all, as far as pocket knives in Texas, most of them hunting boys, they carry buck knives. Why? Because they go out in the woods and hunt bucks. They skin the buck, they dehead the buck. They prepare it for the market or for their freezers. So let's get out of this nonsense. I'm glad you kicked American Rifleman out, because you got to understand, America was built on violence. It operates and functions on violence. Is overseas operating and conducting violence, and there's violence in the country in all 50 states. The only thing that's different is the racial dynamics and or the laws which govern the state in which you reside in. But as far as this is going to be turned into a racial situation. Why? Because they want revenge. They want straight out revenge. They're going to need to get it through the unjust just system or through a jury of his peers. That's the reason why his bail is set so high, is because they're trying to drain the wealth from the family pockets in order that he does not be able to get a qualified legal representation within the courts. But again, when you're, young kids, I will tell you this, it's worse now than when I was coming up. When I was coming up, my mother and my father told me and my brothers that if one of y'all in a fight, y'all all in the fight.
That's fine.
Y'all all in the fight.
And I would assume that's the case with his twin brother, bro. His twin brother linebacker right there too, bro, along with the rest of the school in the same team colors and all of that, bro.
And when he was being interviewed on I think it was on Fox, he was very careful at how he worded the events as far as what transpired and led up to the stabbing of his twin brother. But on their Facebook and social media platforms, you see them with guns and hunting gear on and masks on, and so I wasn't there. None of us was there, but at the same time, there's no peer view evidence, whether it's reporting, written evidence, or surveillance that has been released to the public to show us and demonstrate that these are the events that transpired. I land the plane.
Yeah, but that's why they doing the media tour. Anytime you see people get out doing the media tour, doing the interviews, and doing all that kind of stuff, what they really trying to do is they're trying to get people emotionally charged to agree with them. That's what that's about.
I agree. I agree.
So they're like, hey, check this out. We think if we can speak to people from an emotional point of view versus a logical point of view, maybe we can win this case.
Hey, Cal, Truth, I don't know if hopefully you said it. I wanted to ask you a question about what do you think about this $1 million bond? Should we be protesting, arguing the case? Because Auntie makes a great case. Should we be talking about this $1 million bond?
Yeah, the $1 million bond is absolutely absurd. It's I'm not too familiar with the city that is in, or even Texas as a state in itself in terms of how they do their jurisprudence, but the $1 million bond is obviously excessive. It's excessive I'm pretty sure it's excessive by many people's opinions and perspectives. The brutality of the situation, in my opinion, doesn't even warrant $1 million bond, right? I would even argue why, and I would want to study other similar cases in that area where other individuals, Black, white, Hispanic, given $1 million bond in that particular. What was that in Dallas? No, that wasn't in Dallas, right? Where was that at? I forgot where it was at.
Outside of Houston.
Yeah, I guess it was outside of Houston, right? So I would question everything about this case, man. Why go for the highest murder charge or the $1 million bond? This wasn't an act of terrorism or domestic terrorism. This wasn't an act of maliciousness, like a planned out, manifesto. It's odd. I'm telling you, I'm almost to the belief that this is going to definitely be like a George Floyd 2.0 this summer with this case. This is like the beginning stages of it, and I believe it's done intentionally. And I hate to go down the conspiracy theorist route, but maybe this is something to keep the racial tensions, or something to keep something going on in the media, etc. Right? Racism is pretty much dying as an economy, and so maybe this is something to keep this race economy going, because even with me, I mean, I'm a conservative, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I kind of want to go to Texas with Al Sharpton. Now, this is something where Al Sharpton should be at, in my opinion. This is something where they should be at, right? And so you're gonna get it's gonna be a lot. I told you, man, it might be a civil war here. And what I mean is, it might be a civil war of just the nation might,
verbally, right?
Yeah, verbally, right? And they've already GoFundMe has already canceled the boys' donation, so that's another problem in itself.
Who canceled the donations?
GoFundMe. They canceled
both parties?
No, just Karmelo Anthony.
Oh my God!
So they canceled the money coming to him. So I don't know. This is tricky, man. And I wonder why the parents haven't said anything yet.
That's another scary part as well.
But yeah, it's definitely excessive. It's excessive, man.
Whew, that's crazy. I got somebody in the back. I'm not sure if I want to pull him up. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, as long as Imperius isn't sexually it's sexual jokes and the vulgarity, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea to bring him up because he is an attorney, so he does have of interpreting the law than I obviously do. Yeah.
You're gonna be interpreting shit. All right, go ahead.
How long has he been locked up? I know it's a silly question. How long has he been locked up? Has he had his bond reduction hearing yet?
Nope.
I have no idea. Yeah.
He has not.
Because his bond is going to get reduced.
He hasn't had they said high. I mean, maybe, but not by much. That's what I've heard. Like lawyers pretty much say. Like
we're gonna see how this work. I'm a little nervous about it, NT, but we're gonna see how this work. We're gonna get his idea. And AR, you got a few more minutes before you can come back. I got you. Imperius.
Before you bring him up,
Sean,
before you bring him up, and Ben is a lot older than us, so I'm pretty sure he knows. If I'm not mistaken, like in the 70s or 80s, a lot of fights, like street fights, they pulled out knives on each other.
Yes, they did.
I've heard about. I didn't see it, but I've heard about shit like they had pull out knives.
We used to fight with knives, chains, bumper jacks, anything. Tire iron, dog chains, the dog. It don't matter. We were swinging every day with the dog on the chain. So
now, But see, Sharon, now had Karmelo Anthony gutted the white boy, okay, I could see $1 million. He stabbed him and then his brain blacked out. Bah, 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 bah. He just, prison yard gutted him. Yeah, I could understand $1 million. Now, to the point now where even me, I'll say, listen, self-defense went out the window the second time you stabbed him, right? But the fact
by
that
the time he got to 16,
that's a great point.
Yeah, but the fact that he stabbed him, probably didn't even realize what he
stabbed him once and ran.
And then he ran. In my opinion, he ran to probably where he thought adults would be, and he had. And so it's not like he ran. He left the stadium and he was on the run. He called his cousin, come pick me up. But so to me, it's like there was a level of remorse. If I was a prosecutor, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, I would have given him $100,000 bond.
He also didn't know that he's just unalive somebody neither. Like you know what I'm saying? He's
fell to his knees.
Yeah.
Grabbed his face, covered his face up, and was crying. This was what was reported. I don't know if that to be a fact. This is what was reported. So that's remorse. He didn't like run out of the field and run down the street and get on the main boulevard and run a 400-yard, a 40-meter sprint. It wasn't like that. And and actually he was even concerned. Reports came out that he was concerned in invoking the name of the kid that he stabbed.
Now, when we're bringing up things like the remorse and all of that other stuff, like what would that mean when it comes to the case? Is that going to help with the intent or something, like proving the intent? Because other than that, it really don't matter.
Yeah, if they drill down on the fact premeditation. When people hear premeditated, that's like you taking a buck knife or pocket knife or a 9mm or a Glock to a game and say, if my team lose or somebody from the other team says something crazy, I'm blasted. That's
Right.
premeditation.
It's kind of like what happened in Above the Rim when they lost the game. He came out with the like.
Oh yeah,
that's premeditated.
Right.
Hey, Motar, you know what to do. Yeah, Motar.
That's premeditated.
Yeah.
But him defend him, doing it one time and leaving, I don't believe we can say it. And we do have a person in the back. But before then,
let me say this.
Good day.
Let me just say this before you bring Pierce up. Is this?
Hold on one second, Ron. Welcome to the show, Brownsville, New York. Good day, sir.
Yo, peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. Can you hear me, Cuzzo? Am I coming through clear?
You coming through clear?
Yeah, first and foremost, Cuzzo, let me take my shoes off before I walk into this room. Peace and love to all the beautiful queens in the chat, man. Anya Bracy, the SBG First Lady, Robin M, DB, Sugar Bum, Bomb Cherry Juice, Rogue C, It's Me, Dr. G, Sexy Red TV, The Supreme Goddess, PH Diva, Talking to Kinfolk, M Mills, Zero Tolerance, Renee, Keisha G, Conversations with MJ, Miss J Lynn, Genesis, Pink, Black Beauty, Brownie Ellie, Fantasy Island Girl, all the queens, man, all the queens. I don't want to forget about none of the queens. Every time I hit this platform, I'm gonna make it my purpose to lift y'all up, give y'all flowers, and show these men, show these knuckleheads how they should be treating the ladies, the queens, and the women on the internet, man. And peace and love to the kings as well. Can't forget about the kings. Cuzzo, this is a great show, great topic, and I've heard a lot of great perspectives that I appreciate, especially from Chaotic Truth. I gotta give him his credit. He's been, speaking a lot of wise words on this subject today. Edelman Williams as well. To answer your question, though, yes, it is a form of bullying. When you look at the situation, the circumstances, yes, he does have the right to stand his ground in Texas, right? And the fact remains that not only does he have a right to stand his ground, but, Texas, has clear guidelines. You don't have the duty to retreat in the state of Texas, right? And also, there's no stipulations on the appropriate level of force that you need to utilize, right? All the statute says is the appropriate level of force to neutralize the threat, right? So that part of the statute is open for interpretation, and it's a matter of perspective. That's when those issues that Chaotic Truth brought up comes into effect. When you talk about the size and stature of the assailant, how I had a call come through. Am I back yet?
Yeah. I was
Am
just
I
gonna
back
say,
yet?
Yeah, you back. Yeah, you back.
as far as the threat though, like what he perceives.
Hold on,
as a threat-
Auntie. Let me land it real quick because I gotta go. I can't stay.
Go ahead.
So in the state of Texas, right? There's no duty to retreat, and there's no clear statute on the appropriate level of force you need to use to defend yourself, right? So he's good there in those aspects. But to me, the biggest hurdle that's in front of his defense team is going to be the student code of conduct, right? Because in most states and in the state of Texas, even though the state of Texas is a Second Amendment state, even though you can walk around the state of Texas concealed, open, in your vehicle, etc., the problem is you cannot come on school grounds with weapons, right? That part is clear. And every student who is going to a school, the family is aware of they have to uphold the student code of conduct. So if in that student code of conduct it says that no type of weapons can be permitted in the school, around the school, or on school grounds, or a certain amount of feet from the school activities, that's going to be his biggest uphill battle. Because if the weapon is found to be illegal, right, then it brings a lot of it makes this case a lot more complicated than it needed to be. If it happened off of school grounds, right, then it's a clear case of stand your ground, self-defense, and I would have all the optimism in the world that he would get exonerated. However, because you throw in that caveat of the school, the legalities on weapons within the school and on school grounds, that's the part where his lawyer is gonna have the biggest hurdle to jump across. Other than that, I do believe that we should rally around this young brother, because it is some, mischaracterizations that's happening. It is some false narratives that's being spread. And it does make me feel good to hear Black people from all across different sectors saying, hey, yes, he was in the right and he had the right to defend himself. And I don't appreciate those mischaracterizations of him, being, publicized in the manner that they're publicizing it, right? So we got to get more information, right? We got to see if there's video evidence. We got to hear the eyewitness testimony. We got to see everything before we really come to a conclusive verdict on what happened and what should have happened. We can't Monday morning quarterback it now because we don't have enough information. But from the facts that have been released, yes, it does look like self-defense. The only problem is, was the weapon legal in that circumstance? And if it wasn't, then we have a problem. But peace and love to everybody on the show. Like, share, subscribe, support my cousin. He's doing a great job here on YouTube. And have a great rest of y'all week, man. Peace and love to everybody.
Thank you so much. And speaking of misrepresenting the case, welcome back, AR. You ain't got much time, I'm pretty sure, because you misrepresenting the young man. But go ahead, AR, do your best.
You ain't slick.
Slap the taste out of your mouth. I'd like to see it.
It says, oh, and to drop AR as soon as he come up. God dang.
Yeah.
Also, we have somebody.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of. I'm sorry. Yeah, there are a lot of folks that are making. Okay, so a lot of people say it's self-defense once, because let's keep it real. There are eyewitnesses saying that this boy put his, that the Metcalf boy, he put his hands on him. Pushed him. That's when the knife came out. But he's already got his hand in his bag. He says, touch me and you see what happens. A lot of, some lawyers are they're gonna make the case that that's an invitation to mutual combat on some care to step outside type stuff.
No, but
that doesn't give you a right to just stab somebody right there. So that's why they're trying to say it's like premeditated. When you invite somebody to mutual combat and then they, they fight you because you invited them to fight you, can't just stab them.
Yeah, but so the only thing, that Brownsville had a good take. The only thing that I disagree with Brownsville, I done been to football games in Texas, and people walking around with guns on their hip. This idea, at the football game, you literally see people with a gun, a 9mm on their hip at the game. So they can't argue that point in Texas that you can't take your weapons when you got 40,000 weapons around the stadium already.
Damn.
It is.
So,
It is.
I mean, I get what he was trying to
Texas,
say,
bro.
but
Everybody's packing. Now it's just like everybody's packing in Texas, dog. Kids too.
Yeah. And a school policy doesn't trump criminal charges or state law. So I get with all due respect, what Brownsville was trying to say, unless he was trying to correlate it into something else to tie it in. But a school policy. That's just a school policy that doesn't compare to a criminal charge, a civil charge, or a state law or statute for that matter. So,
yeah, but like and the thing is, we got to come to the point that someone having a weapon in an event like this is actually a common thing. This wasn't like sometimes what we do is we think about it like if we lived in New York and not lived in Texas. And in Texas, a person walking around with a knife, with a gun, with all these types of weapons is just part of being a Texan.
That's a bar.
To be honest, it's part of being a teenage boy, bro. I always had a pocket knife. When I was a teenager, they taught you that in Boy Scouts, bro. That's rule number one. You always be prepared. It's always kept a knife. So, I mean, we haven't seen the knife. We don't know the size of the blade or any of that stuff. Like, for real, was it like a switchblade or was it like a box cutter? Just a pocket, just an all-purpose
It was a
pocket.
3-inch knife.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's not even a knife. You know what I'm saying? It's like for violence. That's something that you just keep on you just because. Just because.
And that's what the police is reporting right now. From the police report, is the actual police report is dropped in the back chat, and he is reporting that it was a 3-inch knife. So, hey, man, that's not. If we're gonna have it that law is law, we cannot say, oh, it's a different law for us than what it is for them. That's the part that makes it so difficult.
And also, let me just jump in here, Sharon, is that one thing people are not looking at also, especially those they're not trained in like maybe martial arts or been to the military or something like that. The physiology of the human body is very vulnerable when you know certain pressure points, where certain blood vessels, nerves, and arteries are. And the thing is, you don't have to pierce the chest near the heart in order to kill someone. You can, depending on how sharp the knife is, if you cut through the clothes, the person's not wearing their jacket, you can slice diagonally across the left chest muscle and cut into blood vessels or the vagus nerve, which runs up to the carotid artery, and a person can bleed to death in a matter of minutes. So the physiology of combat or striking a person, when you know what to do, you could render a person defensive or take a person's life just by knowing some of the physiology of the human body when it comes to close quarter contact or combat.
Hey, Rob, or by not knowing, you can just accidentally hit the wrong.
Or by yes, that's true. Yeah, and by not knowing, correct.
Easy, I have no idea what you said and who you said it to. So I have no idea. But I will check for you. But maybe you said something you ain't supposed to say. Because people with a wrench, they're gonna stand their ground.
Sure.
He said he gotta stand your ground, chat. We gotta stand your grounds, chat.
I'd like to know what Chaotic Truth or even E. William, what do y'all think about $1 million bond?
Yeah, I think it was excessive. I think it should have been somewhere because you pay 10%. Usually you pay like 10% of the bond, right? So right. I think it should have been somewhere around 100. I think anything under $250,000, it would have been less to argue about, right? But if it was like $250,000 or less, this young man get out anywhere between $25,000 to $10,000. I think it's fair. I think that would have been fair.
I believe it's going to be reduced when he has his bond hearing reduction. That's the first thing his attorney is going to ask for when he gets arraigned or whatnot. It's definitely going to get reduced. That $1 million was just there, and it did work to get that first effect, that first emotional reaction. I believe it is unfortunately going to be some type of civil war type situation because it's going to turn into definitely a racial component. Is going to be, unfortunately, but his bond will get reduced.
But see,
let me say this.
So, but I think that the white judge, because it is a white judge, was making a statement that y'all black people ain't like us. I can give you $1 million bond for something I would have normally gave a $50,000 or $100,000 bond. Like
That's
we gotta
true.
understand that he made a statement with that.
Or
I think
especially
that was
like
a statement.
they know your family can't post $1 million. They can't put up $1 million in assets. You know, they can't
Correct.
put up $1 million.
Even
So keep
100,000
in
for that
mind,
matter. Even
yeah,
10%
I'm
of
just
that.
saying they already raised like close to 200,000. So if it was only 10% of that, that boy would be out of jail right now. So it
Right
really
down. Yeah.
depends. Like the bondsman still has to post that. So you need a bondsman that's covered for it, and a bondsman is willing to take that, and your family got to put up the collateral for the rest. It's going to require some sureties and some other stuff too. I don't know how it's working out there, but I'm just saying it's more than 10%. Otherwise, that boy would be out by now.
Well, and the
Might
reason $1
have to
million
put up the
is
deed.
hello. I think people don't understand the reason $1 million is a crazy amount for Texas is because the property. Like their mama can own a house that's worth $250,000. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like $1 million bond in New York versus $1 million bond in Texas. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
That's about like 5 houses. Go ahead, Chaotic.
Imperious, and a few other of these suspected white supremacists a few weeks ago or a week ago said that he was trespassing. How was he trespassing?
Yeah.
How do you trespass?
He's not trespassing
under an open.
No.
They said he was running at that meet.
Well, where was he trespassing at? So if he's
the reason why he was underneath that tent is because it was raining, so everybody kind of crowded underneath that tent. But go ahead, my bad, cutting you off.
No, that's all I wanted to say. I mean, that's what a lot of these people are going to start saying. He was trespassing.
Well, the school has to say he's trespassing, not that person. The school has to say that because everyone was on school property. So if the school doesn't say they're trespassing, then no one else can say that. The tents were on and the people were on school property. So no one can say they're trespassing except for the school administration.
But even with trespassing, you gotta give them like a formal warning to do trespassing. Like you can't just say somebody's trespassing on the first time, especially in the public area. Now if he got a formal warning, say, hey, if you come back, you be known as trespassing later, and he came back, that's the only way they can do a trespassing.
Yes, I think the thing we're missing is the law and their law, which are two different things.
Uh-oh.
The law and their law, if you know what I mean. So
no, you gotta break
again,
that down. You can't just drop that like that. Now,
okay, it's like this. Their law is the law that states ever since the Constitution was drafted, is that there is no law by which a white man has to respect that is due his property and or a slave or a black man. This is stated leading up to the Emancipation Proclamation. Even after 60 years, when it was actually enforced. See, when the proclamation was signed by Lincoln, it was not enforced for another 65 to 70 years. So we got to understand that codified within the Constitution is that there are rights by which former slaves who were given benefits that a white man or person that is classified as white had no duty to respect, even constitutionally. That's what I mean by that. So there is the law and their law.
Okay, so now I want you to tie it into this situation. Like I understand that.
Okay,
part.
The way I would tie that in is this: one, the $1 million bond. Just like someone was explaining the property values within Texas, you can actually financially wither all transferable wealth or any wealth that the family has just by putting up property deeds in order to fight their son's case, which will render them financially bankrupt. So they know what they're doing. And second of all, you have manslaughter, you have different degrees of manslaughter and murder. First degree, second degree, third degree, first degree, second degree, third degree manslaughter. So is this a manslaughter case? Is this a self-defense case? Or is this a premeditated case which will fall under state murder charges.
Well, no.
That's what.
So yeah, so I get what you're saying now. I think is different, right? I believe they gave him $1 million bond because they feel that it is proven through the judicial system. If you sit somebody in jail, they'll plea a lot quicker than if they go home, right? That we know that for a fact.
That's typically that's the case when you get into legalities and jurisprudence. Yeah, that's typically Tell us what happened, and you go home, or tell us.
Yeah. So say
let me
for
get
example,
a
you
real
got
quick
a young
second.
man.
Let me get a real quick second. The new culture empire with the $4.99. I gotta go now. AR can breathe. Give that $20 credit to Tiff. Catch y'all later. We up in the score. Sheesh. Also, we got HQ Reacts with the $1.99. Is that see un Jesus or a rando dude?
Yeah. The point that I was making is, so first of all, you got a young man who he stabbed someone, he's crying, he's remorse. The one thing that they want to do is keep him away from his family because they understand that they get them prison lawyers in there talking to him, talking about why he should plead out. They understand that him being in a situation that is not formal to him it's a higher probability that they can get a plea. So I think it's just that. I think it's not like so much of the slavery and the different laws. I just think that they know if they can keep him locked up long enough, they can convince him to take a deal that's unfavorable to him.
Oh yeah, they're gonna use the mind game and a police Hegelian dialectics. But did anybody hear about the mass shooting that happened yesterday?
No.
3 people that were killed. Yeah, it was 3. It was 7 people shot. 3 died, and they arrested the gunman on scene. He gave up.
Where at?
And guess it was in. I believe it was in Virginia, state of Virginia.
Okay.
And they arrested him, and he was a Yeti. He was a white tee.
Oh, okay.
A Yeti or a white tee.
A Yeti. Wow. Okay. Welcome into the show. We Unlock Nation. Good day, sir. What is your thoughts? Was it bullying? Why or why not?
Bullying. All white boys bully black kids in junior high schools, and wherever else.
Checkmate.
I just want to ask a question. This stand your ground law. Do teachers in high schools carry weapons too for protection?
Some do. They're not supposed to. Yeah, they're not supposed to. Not on school grounds, but some do.
So if that is the case, then this brother should have no particular issue with him scathing away for what he had did, and that was just protect himself. So we should have no issue.
Well, minus racism, white supremacy. You know, everything you do understand will only confuse you if you don't understand the system of racism, white supremacy, as far as how it operates.
Quite well, my brother. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. So we have to be very conscious of that. And
this is why lawyers practice law, though. Like the law is up to interpretation. This is about what kind of case that you can make, and into like I think this is going to be groundbreaking as far as what the clear definition of self-defense is, because it's such a gray area.
You think there's going to be any fallout?
Yeah.
Any fallout within? You think there's going to be any racial conflict or incidents?
Oh yeah, no. This is going to be magnified. I don't think the situation itself is a racial thing, because I think this happens amongst kids. It happens.
No, I don't.
Black kids versus black kids. It happens with white kids versus white kids. It just happens when you got kids from opposing schools. Sometimes kids from the same school. But as far as the court system, with the $1 million bond, whether or not this boy is going to get a fair trial, the due process that he's supposed to be entitled to, pretty much the same thing that Zimmerman got, same thing that that Rittenhouse, regardless, he should get a fair trial, and that's why we should be banding behind him and his family, just to make sure he gets a fair trial. I'm not saying he's guilty or not, because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a juror, so I don't know. He deserves a fair trial just like anybody else do.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer or a jury, but I am a master It's supremiology.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what?
But I'm saying that the $1 million bond is the first smoking gun in unfairness though. $1 million, bro.
Yeah, somebody
Yeah,
asked
that's
me
crazy.
of what when I said I'm
A million is insane. HQ reacts with the 499. Blacktastic, chaotic. I need to throw myself down the stairs. Truth ain't doing. See you on Instagram. We skating in hell, y'all.
Hey, Sharon, somebody asked me what am I a master in when I said supremiology.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to answer that question if that person would like to pose that question again.
Sure, answer the question. We here. We got you. Go ahead.
The question is this. I believe there's only the human race. I believe that racism, white supremacy, is the only form of supremacy in the known universe between the people of the known universe. And in effect,
damn, that was good.
Damn.
Keep going.
Economic.
Keep going.
Yeah,
And to show what he means by white supremacy.
Why he getting his microphone together? AR.
okay, I'm together. I had a call. I'm together. Okay, so I believe that racism, white supremacy is a falsehood. I don't believe it is a thing that can be measured by anthropological or scientific evidence, because there's no such thing as a white race, first of all. But I believe since the 1600s, when the concept and the idea of racial classification came into existence, it came into existence because there was a notion within the colony that they would not be able to keep human beings in bondage, not servitude, but bondage forever. So
let me just respond to that first part. The problem with that is I can go to an Asian continent where no white or black people are there, and racism still exists. So
no, you don't understand. No, you don't understand. You don't understand, bro. That's why I said that. Asians that practice feudalism or any form of system of conquering or looting and taking over territory, it wasn't because they were Asian. Japanese didn't do what they did to China because they were Chinese.
No, what I'm saying is that if you go to China, they treat darker skinned Asians different from lighter skinned Asians.
Yes, they do. Bro. But guess what? But guess what? But guess what? Those Chinese people that they treat that are darker than the fair skin, they still speak Chinese or Mandarin. And or they still have a cultural understanding.
All right. Nobody want to hear what y'all talking about. All right.
We don't all speak American.
Okay. All right. Okay. The more y'all talk,
Oh my God!
Hold on. The more y'all talk, the more people leave.
I'm gonna have to, you know what, Sean? I'm gonna have to get my own channel. I'm gonna have to start my own channel because I gotta get people.
I think that's a good idea. I don't know why you said it in that context, but yeah, it's always a good idea. You should definitely do that.
But go ahead. We'll carry on in the dynamic of the event and the topic, because I think this is what most people can relate to. I think I was taking it too deep, which I do understand. The victims of racism, white supremacy, will vote against their own interests when they don't understand the system of racism, white supremacy in the Americas. I land.
But I just want to go on record saying that it's scientific evidence that racism exists. So I don't know why you said that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. Let me back that up.
Okay. It's okay, Rob. Hold on. It's okay. Y'all can
okay.
Just hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead, AR, man. God damn. You good. He gone now, so you good.
I need like 5 minutes.
Hey, AR, real quick. But before you go, because I gotta go, and then I'm done for the rest of the day. But I just gotta correct something that Edelman and Otis said earlier after I left, because they were totally wrong. So Edelman says that people in Texas are carrying guns to high school football games. If they are, they're in violation of Texas Penal Code Chapter 30, right? So if you go do your research, look up the Texas Penal Code Chapter 30, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You cannot bring weapons onto school grounds in the state of Texas, right? That's point number one. Also, you can also look at chapter 411 of the government code, which also goes into details on that. Because of the rise of school shootings everywhere, right? There's been law changes within the legislature of a wide variety of states that prohibit weapons from being on school grounds and a certain amount of feet from school grounds. In the state of Texas specifically, if you're carrying a weapon, it's a state jail felony, right? So if you're at an event, high school event, that's put on by the school, you're carrying a weapon, that's a state jail felony in the state of Texas, right? So I'm not saying that he's never seen it, but if he sees it now, they're felons, you know what I'm saying? Or they're putting themselves in jeopardy to become a felon, right? Because that's against the law. And the reason why I said the student code of conduct is because Texas also has an education code, right? And the student code of conduct is a legally binding document under the education code in the state of Texas, right? So which if students break that, right, they're subjected to the laws of the state of Texas, right? Which can end up with being crimes, right? So what I'm saying is, you know, I'm not going to speak on an issue that I don't know about. Obviously, when it comes to laws across this country, I'm not going to speak on it if I don't know what I'm talking about. So I just want to land it there. Yes, the state of Texas, state of Florida, several other states where they have Second Amendment rights, loose gun laws. But when it comes to schools and school property, those weapons, those laws do not apply, right? And it's for a good reason as to why it doesn't apply. So that's the biggest hurdle that they're going to have to climb, because if that weapon is deemed illegal, then that's going to be a problem for his legal defense team. That's all I'm saying. So
in other words, he's not going to get a fair trial. Let's just put it that way.
Right, that's what he's trying. That's what he's really poking at. And he said the hardest part of the unfair trial is the knife, and that's going to be the main focal point that Brownsville believe the prosecutor is going to use against him. Is it a legal weapon, or is it a legal carrying situation or not?
Yeah, but I believe in the state of Texas, it's a certain inch requirement too for it to be considered a weapon too.
But not on school grounds. Either man, you're correct, right? But look up what I'm telling you. Look up chapter 30 of the Texas Penal Code. Look up chapter 411 of the government code. And then look up the education code, right? So on school grounds, all weapons are strictly prohibited. Even if the kids bring a weapon, you know what I'm saying? They're subjected to legal ramifications. No matter how large or small the knife is, right? It's illegal. Right, it's considered contraband. It's considered illegal, and it's considered they're gonna be penalized for having those things, and it also extends to school events, right? Okay. So that
quick
is the
question
issue.
before you go off on a tangent, no, Brownsville. So when you're talking about the difference between self-defense and premeditated unaliving, how does that coincide? Because I get it. You breaking that law, you violating the student code of conduct, you doing some stuff on school grounds you shouldn't be doing. But when you're talking about unaliving somebody, like those are two different things, bro.
Well,
you know
no,
whether or not it's premeditated or whether or not it's self-defense.
Right. So when you guys are talking about premeditated murder, you guys are incorrect, right? Because if it wasn't on school property, right? So if you could be anywhere, let's say it happened outside of a regular normal gym, right? And you got 3 or 4 dudes surrounding you, right? And they're threatening you and they're giving you verbal commands to leave or whatever, or they're threatening to assault you, right? And if they are now physically assaulting you, then there's no clear stipulations on the means you have to defend yourself, right? And that's where those details as far as how many people was it, were you cornered, because you don't have duty to retreat, and you don't have a certain stipulation as to what type of force you can use to defend yourself. So if he wasn't the provocateur, if he wasn't the primary aggressor, and they were actively pursuing him for an aggressive activity, then that premeditation that you guys are talking about, it goes completely out of the window and it doesn't apply at all, especially in the state of Texas, right? And other, like in the state of New York, yes, it definitely would apply there. You know what I'm saying? Because they have strict laws against weapons and so on and so forth, but not the state of Texas. So that's the point that I'm making, right? The premeditation part is irrelevant. The only issue in this case is the knife being deemed legal or illegal. And if it's deemed illegal, right, and they say, well, the knife wasn't even supposed to be there to utilize, then that is going to be his biggest problem that he has to overcome.
What you said, he get locked up for something. Translated to the black folks, Brownville say he gonna get if they found out that
He
life
he
is
have an
legal.
uphill battle. Stop it, E. Marcus Antonio continue with the $2. If Karmelo's found guilty through due process, what then? Oh man, that's a scary thing, especially if it's
if convicted, that's 5 to 99 years.
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
mean, he'll likely do 15. You know what I'm saying? Like 20, he'll get 20 and have to do like 10 to 15 of it.
I actually think he's gonna get off. I don't think he's gonna get convicted. I think that Texas hold their rights
Year of probation.
And plus they know once they do that, they know that it's going to change their whole laws of how people move out there.
Yeah, and I think that jury is not gonna want to change the whole laws, and I think they're gonna let him walk. We see this in Texas a lot. People get a chance to walk because they don't want to change the laws, and I think
and I think that's what we're going to see how I guess racist Texas or the Republican whatever we're going to see. Jalen, you're the man, speaker. Black people can't win a race war.
So do y'all think that this gonna go to court? Because I don't think it's going to court. I think that they're gonna try to work a deal. They're gonna try to do some backyard deal. Maybe give them 2 years or something like that. That kind of sweep this under the world. What y'all think?
I believe it's going to trial. There's no way.
I agree with that. I'm pretty sure he's going to trial, bro. I think his lawyers have already instructed him to fight it. But we'll see what happens. You never know. Things change.
Great question. JC with the 199. Stadiums are considered school grounds?
Well, you got to understand, if he fight this process, he going to do 2 years in jail because they going to stretch it out for the next 2 years.
Now, since he's being under 17, does his parents have to be there when they talk to him?
No. Not with the charges they charged him with. And I think that was the reason, and that's another reason I think they threw these type of charges at him, is so that he will not be considered a minor. And then they can be able to treat him like an adult. Because if they would have threw different types of charges at him, then they would have had to consider him as a minor. Well, he would have been considered adult anyway because he's 17. But I think this case gonna end with a plea. It might come down to saying that he gotta do 2 years, or they gonna say he's gonna sit here for 2 years while you doing.
No, I agree with you there, but he's going to end up doing, if any, 10 years probation. If he gets out.
I don't think it's going to be that simple, but I don't see a plea coming. At all. Why not fight this one?
Right, especially
you said why not or why?
Yeah, why not fight it? Because it's not open and shut like that. Like right. I think it just doesn't make sense to plead. Like it's so big. If you got good lawyers that can make a case, and you got witnesses saying that this man put his hands on you, like you got to fight the good fight, bro. You don't cop a plea to that.
You speaking from the outside. I'm telling you, it's like the same question when they said, why did Young Thug plead? He had a winning case because he sat in jail for 2 years. Anybody that's sitting in jail and they got the option to get out, they typically plead. They say, hey, we're going to give you time served, we're going to put you on probation, or you can sit in jail for another 6 months and fight it.
Who is that talking?
Damn, and he gets his scholarships taken away from him too.
Just who the hell is that talking?
That's either man.
Either man. Okay. All right.
Well, anyway.
Oh, I thought you had some smoke for him. Like you said, who the hell he talking with? That was aggressive.
No, I mean,
I thought he was gonna snap off.
I was the only question I want to ask, bro. Are you in the South? Are you in the South?
I'm not in the South anymore.
Oh, you were in the South.
Yes, sir. And I know 90% of people plead. So this idea that you think people ain't gonna plea is crazy.
No. I'm not talking about that. You transported from the South and brought the South with you somewhere else. I did detect that. That's all. That was my only question.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna plea. I think he's not gonna be able to have a lawyer. His family don't have the time to have a lawyer for the next 2 years. You gotta understand these cases. That's literally how they're getting people taking advantage of people in the legal system. They drag these cases off, and they drag.
They've always. This is not new. They've done this since 1957. Man, I was born in the 50s, so this is not nothing new.
Which is what, like, that falls into the category of unconstitutional because you're supposed to have a right to a speedy trial.
Wow. And a jury of your peers. And when have you had a damn jury of your damn peers? Damn jury of my peers is me calling my homie, hey, bruh, can you come and serve as a jury of my peers to get me out this shit? That's the jury of my peers in my mind.
I agree with what he is saying, man. If they're gonna keep him in jail for 2-3 years, you know what I'm saying, awaiting trial and saying, yo, it's gonna be $1 million to get out or whatever, somebody might crack under that type of pressure. That's one of the reasons why you're entitled to a speedy trial and due process.
And it's incumbent upon us to keep an eye on this and bring pressure to bear on the judge to bring down that bail based on the duality or the penalty of the crime or the interaction. Because I'm not convinced that there was a crime other than the fact if the school policies and procedures and rules says that there are no weapons, no weapons by adults or students on school premises or grounds or within 50 or 100 feet of that campus. Then that's something different.
Agreed. Hey, y'all, you good? You there? Or you still away?
I think I'm good.
Or MIA.
You better go while your enemy is away.
He don't got that much money.
But
he's gonna run out.
Okay. You want to present your?
I'm definitely not gonna run.
My God, damn, Ben, shut up.
Damn.
No, you shut up. Don't tell another grown man to shut up unless you can make him shut up.
Did we just
a young man's life is on the line here, y'all.
Come on.
Yes, it is, but I wasn't put off the panel, so you shut up. Just before Sharon make you shut up.
Damn.
Or else.
Man. Go ahead, AR. What's your thought?
I don't know.
Fuck up in 2024.
Damn.
Cold as ice.
God damn. He said, hey, I ain't leave yet. Hey, y'all. It says, drop AR while I leave. Tiff, you got the other 20.
Well, Bo.
Otis.
Yes, sir.
Did you see that Megyn Kelly newscast podcast or whatever that's called on? I think it was on not CNN, but Fox News. How she spun the story.
She's got her
saying
own
that
show,
this
bro. It was
man
on her own
was.
channel.
I know
She
that.
ain't
I
part of
know,
Fox no
but
more, bro. They got rid of her years ago.
well,
Yeah, she got that
if
nice
that's the
settlement on
case,
there.
then
Yeah.
Oh, let me read this.
it was a
Marcus
it's a
Antonio
white supremacy show.
with the $2. Oh, y'all can hear me? With the $2. Marcus Antonio Castillo with the $2 says, guess what? She unlocked another child's life was taken. Oh shit. You got beef, clearly.
I ain't got no beef with no bitch.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
Who was there?
I don't
Beef
know.
with me.
Okay.
I had no idea. But anyway, she completely spun the story as if the young man just took the knife out the bag and just, excuse me, just stand still while I just stab you in the heart. Then I'm gonna run away. This is how people spin the narrative. So when you ask the
I agree.
question,
That's how it was presented. That's how it was presented to me. We unlocked last night. That's how it was presented to me.
Even the boy's father said that. The one that was slain. You know what I'm saying? His father said, "Hey, he just asked the boy to move politely, and then he just pulled out a knife and stabbed him." You know?
Yeah,
That's what the
right.
boy's father said in his statement. So
Uh-huh.
it's like, and come on, people gonna spin whatever narrative they want to spin to promote their own agenda. It is what it is. You know? So I get it.
yeah, you know what? I'm too old to be fighting. Hold on a second. I'm just too old to be fighting with kids nowadays. So, Sharon, yeah, you have a good day. I'll see you later, cuz. Hey, Raw Hotel. Invite me over to your channel. We'll talk about.
Who am I talking to?
Huh?
Okay, what is that? We on Lock Nation, aka okay, bro. Yeah, okay, all right. Because I'm doing reconnaissance and intelligence work on Sharon and chaotic site to know what my know what my ops is and know what my opponent how skilled they are. Because I know the steel sharpens steel, diamonds cut diamonds. So I want to make first contact.
Nah, I appreciate just to go to what we unlocked just said. I appreciate you letting everybody like talk about the actual fact because there have been a lot of channels that have conveniently left certain stuff out. You know what I'm saying? They leave out the fact that this boy put his hands on another boy, the fact that it was a downpour on. You know what I'm saying? And that's why everybody was kind of crowded underneath the tent. All of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? People just leave out a lot of different things trying to push a narrative. So appreciate.
Yeah, Sharon, I appreciate that, bro. I'll concur with that.
Just trying to get it all out, yeah, because people will conveniently.
Yeah, that's the main thing that I really like to try to focus on is just getting the information out. Let's talk about the information, not our narratives and how we feel about it.
Right.
Because I come from a speaker's corner background. Not a social media platform background. And when I used to go to speaker corners back in the day, this is even at the time the first time I met Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Then you would go with your security, and when I was doing it myself, I would go with my own pick team. Most of the brothers was former veterans that I knew, a couple that I actually served with, so they were clearly vetted. So I know if somebody just wilded out just based on my statement or my pushback on my argument or my narrative, then they would get dealt with very swiftly. So, but on the social media, you can say what you want to say with it. We don't know each other personally. We kind of got familiar with each other on different panels and so forth and on. But yeah, this is where we're at, and I've seen this over the decades, mushroom into where it is now. And I would argue that it's actually more lethal now. Not so much as the occurrence and things didn't happen. It's just more lethality. It's more lethality to conflict now, even if it's on the street in the neighborhood.
All right. What's up, Chaotic?
I was going to take a break today, but my engagement has been canceled, and
nice.
Not just canceled, but I think I'm going to do a show about the police report in an hour or under an hour because what Sharon, you have a lot of whites in this country that they are hyper fixated on black people, and I'm not saying that this is a absolute statement, but it seems to be that a lot of whites have placed blacks in a monolith.
Oh,
and I think that's the danger of a lot of whites, a lot of blacks. They've placed this monolith, right? And you hear the monolithic tone, or you heard the monolithic tone the moment that this story came out. He's from a single parent household. That was the first, even though that was proven to be false. He's a pookie. He was suspended from school. He's this, he's that. And all those things are proven to be false. And, as the Negro Whisperer, it is my duty to correct even the wrongs of the whites who are just hyper fixated on keeping this narrative supposedly going, if you will.
Why do you think they do that, Chaotic? Even on your platform?
Well, a lot of whites have underachieved, and imagine seeing a country where you are told that you are special, that blacks are downtrodden, yada yada yada. But when in fact a lot of that stuff is false. A lot of blacks are very well to do. A lot of blacks didn't grow up in oppression and slavery. And imagine being someone white, but you've underachieved with your whiteness. So you are comfortable with these types of stories because it fits whatever belief you have about blacks. Look at his hair. Look at that. He doesn't have a father in a home. Well, he does have a father in a home. Well, why did he have the knife? Well,
CT, I don't mean to interrupt you. Are you okay this morning? Are you okay this morning?
Ben, you don't know this.
No.
I've kicked in the back.
No. I'm serious. I've known it, but I mean,
question, Ryan. You asked him.
Ben, believe it or not, Ben, you caught me. You've only been before you came to my channel, Ben. Ben, I used to kick in the backs of whites regularly.
Okay. I'm an
equal opportunity. I'm an equal opportunity racist. And whites generally have underachieved. That's why now you see more whites blaming the Jays for their failures. Yeah. You see more whites doing this because now that you can see the real with your fingertips now. You can see China. You listen, Ben. Even in China right now, you can clearly see that the Chinese are 50 years ahead of us, and even to this day, what a lot of whites are doing now is it's a coping mechanism. Well, the buildings are tofu buildings. The buildings are made out of cardboard. It's a coping mechanism for your own failures because you have failed to realize you have failed to compete. Go ahead.
So what I interpret and get out of this, because we did get into a little bit of this when we were discussing the problems of China and China's military and economic problems, is this an innovation? Is that I think what I'm getting out of this is that white currency, which is their whiteness or their skin, return value is being diminished.
Correct.
Because their greatest currency is being classified as white. Get out of jail, pass, go, collect. That's what the currency is.
Ben,
because they don't want to be black.
Ben, yesterday, and I've known Be Brave for years. He's a great guy. My dentist growing up, he just retired. But my childhood dentist, black guy. My childhood physician, Black American. My current my current physician is a Black American woman.
Okay.
When I told this to be Brave, he kind of was shocked. Well, I'm like, Brave, do you not realize that it is normal for a lot of Black people, particularly, to have Black caregivers, Black physicians, Black dentists? Do you? Well, that's not a lot. Like, how do you know that? A lot of people just don't believe it. A lot of people. I dated a girl. It took her a longer time to become a doctor because of family issues, but she has her own practice. And a lot of times, I don't see a plethora of Black people when I go into the Mayo Clinic. Well, the Mayo Clinic is the best hospital on the planet, but I'm pretty sure you won't see a lot of whites. You won't see a lot of. I mean, how many goddamn doctors are you gonna hire? But a lot of doctors have their own practice. They have their own.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I only saw Black practitioners, medical practitioners, dentists, eye doctors, ophthalmologists.
But you gotta remember too. But see, Sharon, it's comfortable watching, going on Twitter and typing in Black person fights at Popeyes, and you watch 50 of those videos.
Absolutely,
that's masturbation to a person who has a narrative about Blacks. Oh, that's master. You watch the same fight videos, and that's what you perceive Blacks are like. But then when a Black person like myself tells you, bro, it was common for me to have friends whose parents were doctors, and that's just an outlier. Well, is it just a coincidence that a lot of people even call it to my own show? Is that an outlier too?
They can't.
And what it is,
they can't believe you had a Black man's hands in your mouth, even though he had gloves on. How dare you have a Black man with a mirror and a scraping tool to clean your gums in your Black mouth? It's unheard of.
Yeah. And so the thing is that a lot of these whites are crashing out. A lot of Blacks are crashing out, Sharon, because think about the whole game with the game with racism. Sharon, you've seen me in action. You've seen Negroes call into my show. You've seen me on other panels. Negroes talking about they live in oppression. One Negro, Otis, says, "Man, I'm in bondage right now." I said, "Bro, if you were in bondage right now, turn your camera on and I can help you out, man. If you chained up and bondage by a white man, turn the camera on." "Oh, no, you know what I meant." And I'm like, I got Blacks who come to my channel who live in 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square foot homes talking about they're in oppression.
Damn, that's crazy too.
Hold on. Thanks for having me. Great convo. Thank you so much, home of the official white purse. Salute to you, man. Guys, give him a big shout out, thumbs up emoji, dollar sign emoji. That's a nice avatar, by the way. I don't know how you did that. That's a nice avatar with the Monopoly man with what looks like to be a Draco. Now here goes the thing. And so I know, Ben, it's a shocker to you because you probably have seen me talk more about Blacks, but Ben, I've made videos kicking in whites' backs too. I hold not my own self accountable. I hold everybody accountable.
But you know what, CT? When you first did your first show on this incident that happened in Texas with the stabbing at this between these two adolescents, they turned on you real quick because I was just in the chat. They turned on you quick.
Ben, I have gone through different white audiences, man, before you came to the channel, man. I've had hundreds of whites stop watching me for whatever reason. I one time, Sharon, Candace Owens did a video picking on this dark-skinned Black girl who's trending on TikTok. This Black girl travels the world. She goes to high-end restaurants. It's one of these like vlogging type Black girls. Beautiful Black chick. Her name is Brittany. So Candace, for some reason, did a video about her. And I'm like, who in the hell at the Daily Wire paid you to talk about this girl? This is a random chick. And what it is that somebody fat and white and ugly that works at Daily Wire, some fat, ugly white chick who's jealous of Black women, said, "You know what, Candace? Maybe you should make a video about this Black girl." Man, I did a video going in on Candace, man. And I used to think Candace would watch me, and there's a reason why. And something stopped coming to me, but
right.
I did a video going in like Candace was talking about her hair, talking about her skin, talking about how she's like the way she looks and Brittany. And I'm like, you're talking about a Black girl who's elegant, she's classy, This girl Brittany, I mean, dude, one of these real elegant black chicks, man. Just real well spoken. And Candace was going in on her, and I did like a 4 or 5 hour video going in on Candace. Like, Candace, what was the point of you talking about this girl? It's not like the girl did something ratchet. It's not like she did something that needs to be talked about. What are you critiquing about this girl? And I had a lot. Well, Ben, let me finish. I had a lot of whites. A lot of white, and I think this was more of a women thing too. A lot of white women and some black women of a certain skin tone went in on me, and they were shocked that I didn't know you like dark skin. I'm like, dude, my wife is dark skin. I've only dated dark skinned women. Just because I sit up here and kick in the backs of blacks doesn't mean it's like they have this thing like they think that I just hate black people. I don't really hate anybody, to be completely honest with you. But the fact of the matter is that. Let me see. Just my 4 cents with the $5 super chat with you. Someone on your panel said knives with blades under 5.5 inches are allowed on school grounds. Not true. In FISD student.
Why does he get to read, Sharon? How come I never get to read?
Just my 4 cents for the super chat.
Why does he hold Trump accountable for the economy where it currently is? You want to talk about blacks and the whites? No, hold that MAGA nigga accountable. I'm gonna go back on mute.
So and the thing is, to land my plane. To land my plane, Sharon.
Man, fuck that plane. We talking about people losing their 401ks, all their money, their farms, all that shit. And you voted for that shit. You were a fucking advocate for that shit.
Ma'am, you don't understand the world, ma'am. Ma'am, you don't understand the world. Tariffs are great for the economy, ma'am. If this is the first stages of decoupling from China, and I agree with it. And I agree with my guy from my guy with the show where they invest in people, O'Leary. I said it before he said it.
You don't
think it should be 300% tariff. We need to decouple from China, ma'am. Ma'am, we need to decouple from China. You don't understand the world, ma'am.
Exactly, and that's
ma'am, you don't understand the world. You don't understand economics, ma'am. Ma'am, you don't understand the world.
Don't think for yourself,
ma'am. You don't understand the world, ma'am.
You don't understand,
ma'am. You don't understand the world.
You don't understand yourself.
You don't understand the world, man. People worried about their 401ks.
You don't understand anything.
Ma'am. You don't understand the world, ma'am. I'm not worried about tariffs, ma'am, because I've prepared.
Should be.
And I'm not a luxury spender. So I don't worry about tariffs. I don't worry about the fact that I might have to pay $2,000 for a big screen TV that's imported. I'm not buying a $2,000 TV. That's why. Wow. I understand the world.
He wears the same blazer, so
exactly.
And now we got young black boys.
Hey, I just want to make sense since we got a good amount of people. I just want to make sure everybody said that we are going to do a stream for Uncle Tom. We're gonna try to get him some money to SBG Nation. We're gonna try to get some Cash App money together to send to him because he lost everything. I'm gonna play the video of his house burning down on live. Literally, he was live while it was happening, and his house literally caught on fire. It burnt his whole house.
Who we talking about?
God, that's awful.
Yeah, his whole house burnt down. He lost all his cars. The only clothes he had was the clothes that was on his back and some flip flops. But he was able to get
family okay.
Family out.
The family's all right.
Dogs out and everything. So everybody is physically safe, but the house completely down to the ground. Cars completely got burned. They got caught up in the garage. And it happened on live, so like literally it was on live. It's great.
Yeah, but Sister Ron,
we're gonna do that. Chaotic Truth is gonna close us out, and we're gonna go run over to that next stream. Go ahead, Chaotic Truth.
Yeah, I'll be streaming in under an hour. Sharon,
yeah, that's gonna
be good. One thing about me is I look in the mirror and I try to say, well, not try. I say you are the problem, Chaotic. You know why you don't have a 6-pack? You've been drinking for 3 months straight.
Damn.
You know why? Let me see. Just my 4 cents for the $5 super chat. Salute to you, man. Says leave your 401k alone and it will come back in due time, like it always does. Seeing this happen many times in my 25 years, you will be okay.
25 years. Yeah.
So Sharon, to end the plane or to land the plane. But she got me all off my scrap. I was about to say now. But anyway, yeah.
Oh,
so
sorry, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. So the thing is that I look in that mirror. I ran for the first time in months. Well, 6 months yesterday. I could barely do a mile. Doing 7 miles was routine for me when I'm out. Man, it's the Jays. Man, it's white supremacy. Man, it's everybody's fault. No, CT, it's your fault why you can't run a mile, just 1 mile. Right. You stopped running and you've been eating bad. That's what happened to me yesterday. I look in that.
But
CT. Oh, dang, Ben.
No, you can't do it.
Ben, let me
finish. Just go in Ohio where you know they after you and you would do it.
You're kind of ruining my flow, Ben. I mean, it's kind of like.
All right. Okay, cool. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
So, Sharon, when I look at this situation with this boy, a lot of these angry whites don't understand the world, and they are not looking in that mirror. It's your white founders who established the First and Second Amendment, right? It's your people who established the Stand Your Ground law. Am I not correct?
Absolutely.
You're right.
Everything that we are seeing, these whites are not looking in that mirror right now. They're not, and a lot of these blacks are, and they're not looking in the mirror. Because it's easy to blame other people. Let's not blame the good-looking, blue-eyed, blonde kid. Let's not blame him. Let's blame the black community for what this boy did. No, blame that white boy. Because Sharon, I've seen it myself that whites
such a flip-flopper.
I've seen it myself that whites overstep their boundaries too. Sharon, always. Sharon, I've seen white people. They will walk over to their neighbor, black, white, or whatever. Your lawn is about a centimeter too high. They are busybodies. They have a culture of, and to a degree, I kind of like it. I kind of like the Karens, but they are busybodies sometimes. They are always bothering people. They bother each other. The young lady earlier said,
and we're gonna end it right there. That is a good spot. Chaotic Truth, in about an hour, he's gonna go live. He's gonna run through the whole police report, and y'all can argue with him there. And he's gonna pull out some points, and he's gonna cook people up who needs to get cooked up. Shout out
right now.
Chaotic Truth. We're gonna go head over to the next stream right now. That we're gonna go support a fellow content creator and his tragedy. Thank y'all so much. I see y'all.
Can you put in the back?
Yeah.
Yes, it is in the back.
Okay,
it's in the back.